Welcome, everybody. This is the day that we've been waiting for, and I know we've got people. There you are. Hi. We've got people logging on from all around the world. We're going to take just a few seconds to make sure that we've got our setup proper. I don't want you guys to miss anything today. You're going to want to have a journal. Get ready to take lots of really valuable notes, and can't wait to rock this with you. If you can hear this, and if you can see this, will you please type in the chat? Let me know if you guys can see and hear this. All right, welcome. And where are you watching this from? I know we've got people from literally all around the planet. So type in the comments, where are you joining us from right now? Where's this beautiful experience taking place? Truly international. Wow. Amazing. Colombia, Namibia, Heidelberg, Netherlands. Wow. Welcome, everybody. Listen, if you are logging on today because you would like to know not just the secrets, but the system, today is the day that I'm going to share the entire system for how I've made money, how I've helped to change lives, and how I've worked with people all around the world, and doing this from anywhere, doing this from any place in the world. Now, it might not be your ambition to be a world traveler and to make millions of dollars and to help people all over the world. You might just be here because you want to just learn how to close. You want to learn how to make sales by changing people's lives so that you can get paid for being yourself. I mean, I don't know exactly what that is, but as we go through the experience today, you're going to see exactly how this all plays out. And I'm so honored to have all of you freedom teachers in this experience today. So a couple more seconds. We're just getting everybody going. And by the way, a couple of just quick housekeeping things. Make sure that you've got no distractions. This is a training that I've never offered before. And there's going to be a lot of valuable insights. And just one thing that you hear can make all the difference when it comes to you making sales. And that's really what this entire thing is about. It's about how to get paid for being you. So please have a journal ready. Make sure to just get rid of any other distractions that might prevent you from giving this your full attention. And we're going to do a little game today. And the game is this. Every time you hear something that is a money-making idea, anytime you hear something that can help you to make more money, anytime you hear something today that is, what they call a value bomb, right? I prefer the term value seed. Anytime you hear something today that can make a difference for you, for your client, for people that you're helping, I want you to type a little $sign in the comments. And the reason we're going to do this is as a reminder that money, when it's earned authentically, is really the sign of someone else's growth, and it's a sign of you being in alignment. There are those people who say that money isn't spiritual, that they're not all about the material things. And I'm here to tell you that money is actually an amplifier for your highest spiritual values. And anybody who says that money is not that important or money is the root of all evil, they either want yours or they haven't figured it out yet. Now, does money buy happiness? Not necessarily, but money allows you the freedom to express your happiness without fear, without resistance. Okay, so every time you hear one of those money-making insights, one of those knowledge seeds, type a $sign in the comment, or you can just do the little mind-blown app. So great to see everybody today. We're going to get started, and you got your journal, right? I got up this morning about 4 a.m. because I was so excited to share this material with you, and I have a lot of appreciation in my heart for those of you you're here right now because you've created space in your life for your own growth. And so something that I do when it's an extra intense training, I'm going to invite you to think about Who do you want to dedicate this to? And let's just take a moment to drop into that. Who is this training really dedicated to? You know, you're not here because you want to just get a bunch of new information, right? You're here because there are changes that you wish to make in your life. Today is going to be dedicated to those changes. Not just getting a bunch of ideas, but really shifting your life, changing your life so that you live as an example for those people that are close to you. So who are you dedicating this to? Type in the comments. And I've got two sets of comments here. We've got your Facebook, we've got Zoom on the webinar. And so I'm seeing all of you, and I'm just really, really glad you guys are here. All right, so with that being said, let's dive into it. Okay, here's the reality. You have very special reasons for being here. And your reasons are unique to you. The reasons why you're here, this is your fuel. And one more housekeeping note, and then I promise we'll dive into it. I've just been reminded by Alex that if you're watching the webinar, will you please change just keep an eye in your comments there, okay? So you've got a chat. We're watching your webinar. We're seeing all of your comments. So if you guys can just, please stay active in the comments. This will help us to help you guys, okay? Yeah. And by the way, this is a very co-creative experience. That means that this is a dialogue. This is not just me teaching. This is going to be heavily co-creative. I have the system. The system has produced millions of dollars for me, for clients that I've shared it with. But it's only going to be as good as your ability to think and to feel and to really interact with all of this, okay? So please, not only feel free, but I want you to interact and engage as much as possible, okay? All right, Alex, we good to go? All right. Let's do this. All right, so this is the exact system that solves the problem that we all face as freedom teachers. And the problem is that so many people struggle to reach their financial outcomes because they haven't figured out the system. They don't have a system for consistently generating sales by helping others to change their life. And so the first step in this, the first stop on this journey is we have to agree to tell ourselves the truth about where we're at. There's a good book that was written a few thousand years ago, and it said the truth will set you free. And in my observation, it's the failure to tell oneself the truth that keeps people stuck month after month, year after year. Even though they're getting better and better and better at their skills, they're becoming more and more empathetic, and they care more, and they're working really hard, but they're still not able to crack this code and start making sales. And so if that is you, then we're gonna come out of the gate. I'm gonna ask you a few questions because I'd really like you to get present with the current reality, because then when you get present with the current reality and you tell yourself the truth, then you can change it. Then you're free to move into a whole new reality. But if we don't allow ourselves to know exactly what the problem is, then we're going to go around chasing a whole bunch of things that don't deal with the issue. Does that make sense? I mean, isn't that just logical? So if you're up for some fairly radical truth telling, type in the comments, type a hell yes, and fasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a freedom-generating, freedom-producing ride that I believe that you will look back on even years from now, and you'll recognize that today was a pivot point, okay? Okay, so here's my first question. And have your journals at the ready, please. Quite simply, who here is not reaching their financial outcomes? And it's different for everybody. But my definition is that you always have the money to express your highest desires. It means that you live without restriction. Until and unless this happens, until you've cracked this code, until you have a system in place that consistently makes you sales. Now, let me just ask you if any of this sounds familiar, okay? If it does, type in the comments, because I'm reading all of your comments here and I'm seeing, I'm working with you in this. And this is like a private coaching session to get to the bottom of why you might be stuck financially, okay? So let me ask you this. Have you ever experienced a lack of certainty in getting results for other people? And as a result of that lack of certainty, your communication is weak and timid. If you've ever experienced that, communicating weak or poorly or not as confidently as you can because you're not totally certain in your ability to get results, let me know in the comments if that's something that's happened for you. Okay, what about this? Are you experiencing that you're just not making consistent sales, and as a result of that, your bank account is never overflowing, and you end up stuck in this financial trap? Strong language, but isn't it true? If you feel stuck in a financial trap, then you're unable to break free into true abundance. Okay, what about this? Are your fees, the value that you're asking for, are your fees too low so that they don't actually reflect your larger purpose or your actual mission in the world? Or your fees are not high enough for you to actually reach abundance and start giving back at the level that you really want to? So if that's something you've experienced, just type in the comments. And a lot of us don't think about this. A lot of us just don't allow ourselves to think about this because it's not comfortable. And yet, the truth will set you free. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever worried about money and lost sleep because of it? Have you ever argued with a loved one over financial matters? What about this? Have you ever hidden information or facts about your financial life because you were embarrassed about your money situation? These are really common problems. And as a result, we stay stuck. And I'm seeing all your comments here. Yeah, this is a huge issue. Okay, what about this? How many big opportunities to create more financial freedom have you missed out on because you didn't have the money to invest? And I'll give you an example. In 2008, the U.S. Industry, the stock market and the real estate market just crashed because my business at that time had been succeeding from the second year. By the time I started to figure all this stuff out, we had enough cash in the business to actually expand our business when everything else was crashing. So we were able to sign leases at unbelievable discounts and lock in those rates because the landlords were eager to just do any kind of business. So basically, when there's a crash, things go on sale. And if you're in a position to grow because you're prepared, then you don't miss out on those big opportunities. So that's a big question to ask yourself. Have you ever missed out on opportunities to invest or to grow because you didn't have the cash? And that only comes because of not having a system that allows you to have these sales coming in consistently. Okay? Yeah, this is, I'm seeing all your comments here. This is huge. Okay, this is a big one. Have you ever missed out on important life events due to work or money? Have you ever told a loved one that you can't be there because you have to work? If you've ever experienced telling someone that you care about, telling them no because you're stuck trying to make more money, then you know what this is like. And the reality is, if you've ever had to tell somebody no more than once, it means that this is a pattern. And the pattern that's left uninterrupted will just continue. It just kind of makes sense. Okay, here's a big one. And this is one of the biggest ones for me to change. Let me know in the comments if you feel that you are repeating financial beliefs and behaviors that you learned when you were growing up. And so you're repeating the cycle and you're passing it on. You know, everybody learns beliefs and behaviors about money growing up. And so the question is, who's learning by watching you? You know, who's observing your financial life? Who's watching you if you're struggling to make money? If you're not making consistent sales and you're struggling with that, who's watching? You know, who's learning from you? You know, we're all an example of one kind or another. And we can either be an inspiration or we can be a warning. Something to think about. Okay, here's another question. Have you ever avoided looking at your bills, or have you ever avoided looking at your bank account because of what you were afraid to see? Because you didn't want to see that. Have you ever experienced that before? If you have, then you know how that feels. You know, to be basically hiding from yourself, hiding from your life. Okay, how about this? This is we're going to think a little bigger now. How many times have you ever missed out on an invitation? You know, a chance to travel or to go and learn something, you know, to go to a workshop or an event, but you couldn't go because you didn't have the money or you didn't have the time. What about this? How many times have you ever missed the chance to go and take care of yourself because you didn't have the time or you didn't have the money? And I'm sharing all of this with you because I've been there. I remember vividly what it's like In fact, and I'm curious if you've experienced this, have you ever felt just stuck and felt isolated and felt like you're carrying this financial burden all by yourself? In a few seconds, I'm going to share some of my philosophies and in fact, some of my strategies for why I choose to live the way that I do. But I'm gonna get personal with you. I'm gonna share some things about my beliefs around the world and about the change that's happening in the world and how to survive and thrive during some of the things that are happening. So I'm really glad you're here, because this is not something that I will share publicly and very often. But if you're like me, then you know that more is possible. That's why you're here. But we have to break the cycle. And the only way to break the cycle is to tell ourselves the truth. So let's go deeper, okay? Have you ever worried about not being able to handle a financial emergency? Let that really sink in for a moment. Maybe you worry about a medical situation developing. I was talking to a good friend and we were having this conversation because he was in the middle of radically upgrading his own beliefs and his own business. And he said, well, but I live in, he lives in Europe. He said, well, we have healthcare, so I don't have to worry about it. Fast forward a couple of months, he found himself very appreciative that he had cash on hand to pay for an alternative therapy for his son. His son was diagnosed with some scary stuff. I won't go into the details of it, but basically it wasn't covered even by a free system. And so it became his mission to search the world and to use the resources that he'd generated. He had the money to go and travel, and he ended up going to some very interesting places and meeting people who were truly on the leading edge. But he was only able to do that because he had the cash, he had the money. And here's something that I am continually aware of, and it's something that has guided my decisions since 1998 when I first began studying this. And we're going to go a little. We're going to take a historical look here, okay? We live in a time, most of us, if you've got the ability to watch this and you've got the safety and the presence and the peace of mind, then we don't usually think about dramatic changes in our country, in our culture, in even our ability to survive. We kind of take all of that for granted. And yet throughout human history, if there's one thing that's guaranteed, it is change. And so there's historical events that dramatically altered history forever. Technological inventions. Gunpowder was invented, and all of a sudden systems that had existed for years collapsed immediately. But we live in a world today where the technological equivalent of gunpowder is coming along every month. We have changes that are happening in our world so fast that the systems that were built before these changes started happening, these systems can't keep up. These are systems of government. These are systems of social support and infrastructure. And because I've thought deeply through these and I've applied logic and I've also applied intuition, I don't have a question about what I would do if the proverbial shit hit the fan. Now, if we've been connected for a while, you've probably never even heard me talk about this. Because the truth is, I don't live there. I don't have to think about it. So I enjoy living in this space of light and of love and beauty and expansion. But I only have the luxury of doing that because I know exactly what the fuck I would do if all the power went out. The vehicle that I drive is equipped. I can take it off-road. I can take it anywhere. Is that what I planned for? No. But I don't even have to think about it because that box is checked. Does that make sense? And so as the world is changing, all of the systems that we've built so much of our security on, so much of our peace of mind has been delegated to other people and to other systems. But what happens if that system ran out of money? What happens if everything crashed? What happens if there was another depression like happened in the US in the 1930s, except now we have a global economy that is dozens and dozens of times bigger. So the dominoes are bigger. I personally believe that chaos is inevitable. But the reason I don't stress out about it is because I understand the system for thriving, for creating value, no matter where I am. And there are people who are watching this training. There are people who are watching this webinar right now who also share that. My friend Andy Rosenfarb is one of them. Andy is a phenomenal dude, but he understands value creation at a very deep level. You could take Andy, and Andy, I know you're watching this, man. You could take Andy, drop him in any environment, and he would very quickly scan the environment. He would determine what the problems are. He would find the solutions, and if he didn't know the solution, he would get the solution, and he would create value no matter where he's at. So I don't have any question that there's a collapse, a massive correction coming. And anybody who does not have a system for creating value, and anyone who is locked in one geographic location is going to be fucked. And all of these evolved frequencies become irrelevant. You're not going to be meditating when the shit hits the fan and you're trying to figure out how to get money to buy gas to get your family out of wherever the fuck you need to get out of. Now, that's only scary if you're not prepared. I never talk about this, but I promised to give you guys the complete, unvarnished truth. The reason I personally can walk into any room with confidence and with an open heart is because I cannot imagine being physically afraid for my safety. And having spent and invested the time to understand physical violence, to understand how to protect myself, to understand how to protect those that I love and care about, because I have that skill, I have the luxury of being loving and open-hearted and connected because I no longer fear for my physical safety. And this is something that I've taken seriously. I rarely talk about it because I don't want to add a voice of fear to the world, but the world is doing enough of that on its own. And so what if there is a drastic change? What if you live in California and you get the notice, you get the call, you get the alert that there's a forest fire sweeping through and it's going to take over your neighborhood? You know, have you taken the time and the resources to have not only a backup plan, but to continue to thrive? I'm telling you, life changes radically when you've got a business that fits in the palm of your hand. When you've got a business that exists through Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and even if that went down, you have ways of connecting with and immediate networks of people that you've connected with that you are valuable to. Now, the chance of all the grid going down all at once, highly unlikely. There's always precursors. Those with money have freedom of flexibility. Those with money are not slaves to location. So if there's a dramatic change in the economy, if there's a dramatic change in politics, if the political situation in wherever you happen to live were to get so intense, would you be forced to stay there and hopefully ride it out? Would you be trapped there because you don't have the resources? Or can you, like me and many of my friends, can you pick up and go in about 10 minutes, taking everything that you need to survive and to thrive and to keep creating value? And as your growth continues, as your resources grow, and as your resourcefulness grows, you also have enough to take people with you. If the shit hits the fan, and my mom, who lives in San Antonio, about an hour and a half south of here, if she needs help, my brothers and I have connected and we've got a plan. We know exactly what we would do. We know exactly where we would go. We know exactly how to do it. It's not an issue. And I spent too many years competing and fighting in the ring to be fooled by a bunch of theories. And the reason I am so appreciative that I had those experiences, because it allowed me to look at the world as it is and then create the world that I want. But I see so many people trying to create the world they want, but they're still at the primal level of survival. They're clueless. They have no idea what they would do if they had to pick up and leave, if they had to move. And maybe it's not because of some disaster. Maybe it's because you want to expand. But the solution is having a system that you can consistently create value, aka consistently make sales. This is a level of freedom that most people never even think about. But when you're prepared, you don't worry. When you're prepared, you can get back in your heart and you can just live this amazing life, because you know that if something were to happen, you have a system, you're prepared. So it's your ability to tell yourself the truth about where you're at in clear, uncertain terms. No uncertain terms. If you can tell yourself the truth about where you are, then you're powered to change it. And all of this requires money. If you don't have the money, then you're not going to have the ability to execute and to exercise all of these plans. And once you become apocalypse proof, if and when the shit hits the fan, it doesn't affect you. The system is what you must have. You must have a system for consistently generating sales so that you can accumulate an excess of financial resources far above your needs, with which you can then be creative. Then you can go and build some amazing stuff. So let's continue through this entire spectrum so that we can take a full inventory of exactly where you are right now, so that then you can be empowered from a place of sobriety, of no bullshit, to then do something about it. Here's a question for you. Are you living in a home today that does not reflect your highest vision for yourself? In other words, are you living in a home today that doesn't reflect your true mission and your true purpose on this planet? Imagine having a client or an event If you had an event today, would you be proud and excited to have people walking into your home knowing that it's inspiring for them? Or would you want to find an Airbnb somewhere so you can rent some luxury? This is big. Your home affects your mindset. Your home affects your frequency. Have you outgrown your home? Are you the same person that you were when you moved in? Or have you expanded? Have you grown? Do you now desire an upgraded space that reflects who you've become? What about your vehicle? Are you driving a vehicle? Are you getting around this planet in a way that is free and is quality? Or are you justifying your mode of transportation, saying it's going to be different someday? Someday? Okay. Look, these are all ways of telling the truth, and those that do have the foundation for moving forward. Here's the thing. Once you have a system in place, you just don't make choices limited by money. It just doesn't happen. You imagine something, you're inspired, and you go and make it happen. So if you've said yes to any of this, it is most likely because you just don't have a rock solid system for generating sales consistently. And without that system, then you are forced to guess or hope or pray. And this takes time, and it costs you confidence. And I got to tell you, this is not just part of the process. People do this all the time. Like, well, I'm in the process. I'm like, what? How long have you been in this process? How long have you been dealing with this? If this has been an issue for you for more than a week or two, and you don't know how to make sales consistently, how is that part of the process? And some people say, well, I'm just paying my dues. To who? Who the fuck said you have to pay your dues? That's a mental trap that keeps even hardworking people, good people, people who are kind and who are well-intentioned, still stay stuck for year after year after year, using this bullshit language. Well, not yet. Not yet. And it hurts my heart when I see people who are working so hard, who care so much and who are so well-intentioned and who have some legitimate skill in the world, and yet they've been taking months, years, trying to figure it out. Natalie, that's a great question. Natalie says, what if you have to start from scratch with a new idea? I love doing that. In my experience, it's about 3 days from having the idea to getting paid for it. Anything longer than 3 days means that you don't have a system. Really, once you have the system dialed in, you can do it within 30 seconds. I mean, you get the idea, you think about I'll show you the system in a minute. But I just want you to get present as to if you're stuck, don't lie to yourself. Stop lying to yourself, saying it's going to get better. That's bullshit. It's not going to get better. You're going to get better at tolerating it. You'll get better at lying to yourself. You'll get better at surrounding yourself with people who don't tell you the truth. You'll surround yourself with people, I know because I used to do this shit. You'll surround yourself with people who tell you what you want to hear, who say, oh my God, you're such a good person. And you're like, oh, whew, okay. In the meantime, you're fucking broke. In the meantime, your gifts are withering and dying. Daniel says 3 days. What about a skill? Look, it doesn't take time to know how to help somebody. You ever taken a first aid class, a CPR class, and you learn what they call the Heimlich maneuver? You know, somebody's choking and you form this configuration with your fist and you get behind them and you put it in a certain place and you give it a heave and it creates this thing and they stop choking. You save their life. It takes about 3 minutes to learn how to do the Heimlich maneuver. And that is the perfect metaphor for creating value in the world. It doesn't take time to create a skill. It takes clarity. And so anybody who says, well, it's part of the process, okay, then you know what? I promise you're surrounded by people who are telling you the same thing, and they're lying to themselves too. So the reality and the unapologetic truth is that if you choose to surround yourself by people who are also lying to themselves, then that behavior deserves each other. And all the people that believe in stuckness, all the people that think it has to take a long time, they all reinforce each other. Meantime, me and my friends are over here making millions of dollars, having the time of our lives, connecting with people who are fucking awesome because they're also willing to tell the truth. And the high tide rises all the boats. But the high tide, even though it rises all the boats, will not do a fucking thing for the rocks. So if somebody's chosen to be a rock, just weighted down on the bottom of the ocean, and that high tide is going to keep going. All the ships are going to go with it. And me and my friends, we're going to sail away. Sean Whalen, I see you. Most of the world is stuck trying to figure out how to scratch by and make little 10% gains. One of the best things I ever heard from one of my first mentors, Master Bill Clark, Jacksonville, Florida, one of my first martial arts mentors and instructors. He looked at me and he said, Mr. Elder, until you know how to double your income within a month, you will never feel free. And I was like, okay, sir. I respected him, but at the same time, I was like, that makes no sense to me. I'm growing like 5% every month. And he said, look, if you grow 5, 10, even 50% in 1 month, your brain already knows how to spend that money. So you have to create a massive infusion of cash, so much that you look at it and go, whoa, what do I do with this? And now you can make some new choices. But if you increase a little bit, you're going to spend a little bit. Increase a little bit, spend a little bit. Who here has ever experienced that? But you go and make a massive infusion, you go and make a massive investment in yourself, and then you 3, 4, 5, 10x that investment, all of a sudden you're like, damn, it's this easy? Yes, it's this easy. If you're surrounded by people who believe the same thing and who live the same thing. Type a hell yes if this is making sense to you. So let's just end the bullshit of saying it's going to take time. No, results don't take time. You know what sucks your time? You know what sucks your life? Figuring shit out. That's what takes all your time. But once you know what to do, once you have a system in place, then you go click, 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 and all the money lights go on. And next thing you know, there's money flowing into your life like a fucking avalanche. And it's literally being thrown at you by people who appreciate you, who respect you, and will do anything to get what you have because you know the system. And if you've ever got stuck in this bullshit of like, well, I need to be a better person. Okay, knock yourself out with that fucked up belief. Have you noticed that money doesn't give a shit? Money doesn't care. Money goes to good people and bad people. Money flows everywhere. It flows wherever there's a system. Trust me, you've got a system for getting rid of money. It's been taught to you by marketers in Hollywood and Bollywood and all of these, everything telling you how to get rid of your money. But very few people showing you how to invest it in the number one thing you have, which is you. So the bottom line is, if you don't have a sales system, you are guaranteed to experience a life of struggle. By a show of digital hands, who agrees with that? No sales system means a life of struggle. Can you be a good person and still struggle? 100%. Can you be well-intentioned and still struggle? You bet your ass. Daniel says, this feels like freedom of money is more valuable than freedom of purpose. Yes, you can find a skill to earn money in 3 days, but this may violate your purpose. Why the fuck would you choose that? With all loving respect, Daniel, and to everybody else that might have thought the same thing, why would you ever choose to make money doing something that's a violation of your purpose? That's fucked up. In fact, the only thing that's going to create such fast income is when you're aligned with your purpose. So, telling yourself the truth is the first step to becoming free. And so here's my question for you. How is not having a sales system right now that's generating income consistently, how is that affecting you? And even if you're paying your bills, you do realize that there are people out there with pockets so deep that they would willingly write a check for 30 times the last check you got. You may be a level 3 freedom teacher. You may be already earning $1 million a year, but you realize there are people out there that are making $1 million a year off of one client, one deal. Do you think they're better than you? No. They do understand communication and they do understand value creation. So you got to tell yourself the truth. How is not having a sales system that allows you to continually increase your fees, continually increase the number of people you're working with, how does it feel to not have that? That's the truth. And if we're going to keep telling ourselves the truth, what are you missing out on right now? Like, what's not in your life right now? You there, beautiful freedom teacher, what's not in your life because you're not making consistent sales? And I get it. When I was in this zone, when I was in this space of not having a system, I was like, you know what? I can handle it. I can figure this out. But what I didn't realize is that there was a lot of other people being affected. You know, I'm the oldest of 5. My younger brother, Devin, lived with me for a little while and we spent a lot of time together. And when I was going through all this struggle and justifying and, I'm paying my dues, I didn't realize that he was watching. And I didn't realize the impact for a long time until I heard about all of the fucking shitty jobs that he took because he also thought he had to pay his dues. Years later, he was very successful working and very successful making money and providing for his family. Eventually went into real estate and became more of an entrepreneur. And he told me later how much he learned from watching me become successful. He told me how much he learned about business and about success as he saw me just start winning. And I didn't realize what it was costing him. So it's not just about us. And the best part is now his kids, my nephews, already have rental properties in their name, and they're learning how to take the shitty, beat up, neglected property, how to improve it, how to make it a nice place for someone to live, and how to receive value from that. They are 11 and 8 years old, respectively. So, back to you and back to telling the truth. Who is watching you? Who is learning about money from you? And this all comes down to just not having a sales system. And so here's my question. If this doesn't change for you now, what's it going to cost you? If this doesn't change now, how is it going to affect your life? The more you allow yourself to tell yourself the truth right now, the faster you can make a real and lasting change. Listen, I respect so much your willingness to go through this process. You realize most people won't. Most people will run from this shit. But you being willing to face it head on, being willing to take this on and tell yourself, I'm tired. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of paying my dues. I'm tired of this bullshit story that I'm getting ready. Listen, all it takes is a system. And when you have a sales system that is consistently bringing in money, everything in life gets better. Everything. Look, there's not a single thing in your life that doesn't improve once you have that sales system in place that is generating sales consistently and is also helping you to raise the value of what you're doing so your fees continue to reflect that value. You continue to attract bigger and bigger and bigger clients who are more and more and more fun to work with. You actually work less and less and less because you have the power of leverage. So here's a question for you. On a scale from 0 to 100, from 0 to 100, what is your level of desire to have a sales system that is consistently bringing in sales? 100, 100, 100, 101, 1,000. Woo! Okay. All right, so there's your level of desire. This is critical. But there's two more factors if you really want to get this in place. Number 2, on a scale from 0 to 100, what is your level of priority? In other words, is there anything else more important than getting the sales system in place? So from 0 to 100, what's your level of priority? So number 1, how bad do you want it? Number 2, where is it on the priority? Sandra says off the scale. Yes. Okay, well, here's the third question. Again, from 0 to 100, what is your level of commitment to do what's required so that you can get that sales system up and running and making consistent sales? 200, Vani says. So here's the thing. If you have the desire, if you have the priority, and if you have the commitment, then you really can't fail. Look, take it from me. I have experienced what it's like to want that system so badly that I was willing to do anything for it. I found a mentor that was getting the results that I wanted, Master Bill Clark, who I already mentioned. And I wanted to learn what he had. It was the number one thing in my life. And I ended up committing. I invested $10,000 in a mentoring program, and I also committed to getting on a fucking plane every month to fly from San Antonio to Jacksonville 18 months in a row. I got the material, and I would apply the same martial arts training focus. I developed this samurai laser clarity to focus on the material until I absorbed it. It became part of what I knew it like I knew my own name. And then I applied it, and in 1 month I doubled my income. I made my entire year's investment back with that 1 month. So if your desire is 100, if your priority is 100, and if your commitment is 100, you can't fail. And so you guys are going to like this. You've paid the price of telling the truth. You've done what very few people are willing to do. So let's keep this momentum going, shall we? Are you ready to dive in a little deeper? All right, let's do it. Let's talk about your vision a little bit, shall we? Now that you've told the fucking truth and you're free from this bullshit of someday it's going to be better. No, someday never comes. This is someday. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. And if you want to know what tomorrow looks like, all you have to do is look at yesterday. If you want to know what next week is going to be like, all you have to do is look at last week. And the reality is, if you want to know what next year is going to be like, 2020, mother truckers, 2020 is upon us. You want to know what 2020 is going to look like? It's going to look exactly like 2019. Because the only way you can create a new future is to do something different and radical now. So let's get into your vision. Here's a question for you. What will change just as soon as your sales system is up and running? What will change? Type in the comments. Celebrate with the chat. What will change? Income, Alex says. Well, let's get specific. How much more income are we talking here? Let's be specific here. I mean, the universe is listening. Kelly says, I'll need a financial advisor to manage all the freaking money. Well, let's get specific. Hernan says, I want to triple my monthly income. Type that number in there, Hernan. Let's get specific. 500,000, Joni says, yes. 55K a month, Anna says, yes. Henry says 30K a month, starting from zero. Who cares about zero? When you have the system, doesn't fucking matter. 100K a month. There we go. See, here's what's happening. By speaking this into reality, you're generating some energy and momentum. Kelly says 10,000 per month for starters, $1 million annual within 2 years. You can do $1 million in a year. If you have a system in place, time stops being the relevant factor. But if you do $1 million in 2 years, that's okay. All right, Cher says to create a retreat space on my farm. Amazing. All right. I'm about to show you the only 3 things that you have to understand. There's only 3 parts to this system. Once you have these 3 understandings and you know that that's all you have to focus on, this is what gives you very powerful truly life-changing information. And this is how sales becomes as easy as taking a nice deep breath. Do you have to get ready to take a breath? No. You just take a breath. Do you have to get ready to make sales? No, you just make sales. Once you have these three things in place. So, what is going to change in your life once you have this system in place? And really allow yourself to feel that. Maybe take a moment, close your eyes, and imagine this. What changes in your life? And also, what about this? I mean, what will you do for yourself? You know, what's the thing that you, almost what some people call a guilty pleasure, you know? Like, oh, not yet, I'm not ready. But no, fuck it, what is it? I love, Nicole says, major self-care. Hell yes. What else would you do for yourself if money wasn't an object? If you've got this cash flowing in and you're now free to make choices without the burden of financial restriction, how does your life change? You know, one thing I started doing is I just started traveling more. I would just get an idea of where I want to go and I'd book the fucking ticket. No getting ready. One time a friend of mine who knows that I like James Bond, he said, hey, do you want to go see the new James Bond movie? I was like, yes. And he said, do you want to go see it opening week? I said, yes. And he said, do you want to go see it in London? I'm like, yes. He's like, all right, good. Let's leave on Tuesday. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I booked a flight, went to London, met with my friend, ended up walking 18 miles around London. It was amazing. And went and saw this movie. We rode these jet-powered boats down the Thames, and they're playing James Bond music in this rocket-powered ship. And we're riding past MI6 and the whole thing. And then we went and saw the movie. It was epic. So, yeah, I mean, if you've got the freedom and the time freedom, and I mean, I'm telling you right now, Freedom Teacher Academy, this is what all this shit is about. Because once you start making sales, you know, you're going to get a group text saying, hey, we're going to have a meetup in Dubai. It's in 3 weeks. Love to see you. And when you're making sales, you can go on whatever travel app you want and go and buy the ticket and go and show up. You're like, you're free to move about the planet. Pretty fun. So, or it says, how much time is needed to invest in creating the system? The system's already created. That's the best part. I mean, it took me about 18 months of studying and practicing and repeating over and over and over until I had it really honed. And then I taught it to my instructors. I taught it to my staff, and they started getting results. It took them about 10 hours. About 10 hours to understand the system, but the training was so much fun. I mean, you guys have already invested an hour here. So yeah, it's so fun. And here's the thing. There's very few things that I love to do more than teach. And I love it. And I especially love teaching people this stuff, because this, out of everything that I teach, this is the stuff that people love because they start to see real results. All right, so let's just imagine. Imagine you have a sales system in place that is doing the following. It is attracting the right person. It's attracting the right people. People who respect you, people who are asking for what you're offering, and people who are eager to invest with you because they know that you can help them. So there's no resistance. There's no, you don't have to sell anybody. They're already sold. They're selling themselves. By the time they arrive to you, they're like, can I work with you, please? And imagine you've got 3 people a week, and maybe you want more, maybe you want less. And let's say that each person is investing anywhere from 1 to 5,000 in what you're offering. And by the way, I'm going to show you how to do this without a bunch of hourly work. Anytime you hear getting paid by the hour, let's break that word down. I'll say it together. Ow. Let's say it again. Ow. How much do you make per hour? Ooh, ow. No way. I get paid for results, baby. None of this hourly bullshit. Actually, charging per hour is the most unethical way that you can ever get paid. Because it means you're basically getting paid the worse you are at your job. Imagine your car is broken and you take it into the mechanic and they're like, oof, yeah, your car's got some deep-seated problems. Yeah, you're going to have to bring it to us every week and, we're going to take a couple of hours to work on it. You'd be like, I need a new fucking mechanic. My car's broken. Can you fix it? They're like, yes, it's going to be $3,000, but you're going to have a brand new badass ride, totally upgraded. You're like, I'm in, done. And then done, okay? So get this hourly shit out of your system. So you got 3 people that are investing between $1,000 and $5,000 for the value that you're providing. That is $12,000 to $60,000 every month. Making sense so far? By the way, how valuable is this already? Do you already see how you can use what you're learning here to make more money? Sales system, baby. Sales system. So you've got a sales system that's bringing 3 people a week. And maybe you want more, maybe you want less, that's fine. But each person is investing $1,000 to $5,000 to work with you. That means you're generating $12,000 per month to $60,000 per month. This means that you are adding anywhere from $144,000 to $720,000 per year, and you're putting that back into your pocket. Make sense so far? And since my system doesn't require a bunch of complicated advertising that costs money and annoys people, and it doesn't require a whole bunch of complicated technology. I mean, here's the reality. I generate millions of dollars per year with my cell phone. With my cell phone. And by the way, in case you're thinking, yeah, but you have a big audience, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. I was already generating almost $1 million a year with no audience because I already had the system. I made the system a priority. I made making money the priority so that I could have the luxury of sharing these philosophies and these ideas. Alex and I didn't even start working together until I'd already made a few $1 million. And then I was like, yeah, I'll invest some money to make these videos pretty and make them really nice. And then we started growing the audience. So in case you're under this illusion that you need to have a big audience to make money, it has nothing to do with it. Dean says, can this work for all types of businesses? 100%, man. This is not about any type of business. It's about serving people. Serving people. And so how would, even if you just generate an extra $144,000 over the next 12 months, and you might do what I do and just charge $5,000, for packages and all that kind of stuff, because it's not about the time, it's about the value. Anna says this isn't ClickFunnels, TrickFunnels. No, no. It's about people. It's about legitimately giving a fuck about people. So, Josh, it is fun, man. I've got you in mind for this. Okay, so here's my question. What would an extra $144,000 do in your life? Would you get a vacation home? Would you start investing it like my nephews are doing, 11 years old, with their own rental properties? I mean, would you go to seminars? Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership is like $150,000 a year. You'd almost make enough for that. I'm neither recommending nor denying that. I'm just saying that it's out there and there are people that do that. Pay off your student loans. How about like me? My vision is getting a ranch, and I'm going to have big ass property, and it's going to be totally self-sustaining. We're going to have this opulent, renewable local energy. And then we're going to build this badass space. It's going to be a music studio, a recording studio. We're going to have a stage. We're going to have concerts and DJs and parties and probably some seminars. And by the way, if you're teaching anything of value, then get your ass there so you can have your event in a badass space. I mean, that's how this shit works. So what would you do with $144 extra $1,000 floating around? What about having 720,000? It's actually much easier to sell a $5,000, to make a $5,000 sale than to make a $1,000 sale. And I'll show you how in a second, okay? All right, so here's the deal. This system, there are 3 components, and I know we're painting a picture, but that's the juice. That's what gets you to use the system. It's a tool. Fun, isn't it? How are you guys feeling? Good shit, yeah? All right, so here's the thing. When you have the system, and by the way, this is the Freedom Teacher Sales System. The Freedom Teacher Sales System. This worked in the martial arts business. I'll share with you an example in just a moment of how I used it to begin my coaching business when nobody knew me. I didn't have an audience. I had 300 friends on Facebook, but I used it to begin generating income. And I was having 5-figure months because of applying this exact system. So when you're using the Freedom Teacher Sales System, you attract, you sell to, and you serve. You attract, you sell to, and you serve only the people who really want what you're offering and who happily pay you for your help in solving their big problems. And yes, it's important to, change your wealth frequency, and it's important to change your mindset. But then what? Then your mindset's changed. You still need to know what to do. And that's what this Freedom Teacher Sales System does. So when you're attracting people who respect you and want to work with you, who happily will pay you to solve and help them solve their big problems, this means you get to live a very different life. This means that you get to be a highly sought after. Just think about that. I mean, how it feels to be highly sought after. How to be a highly sought after and widely respected expert authority. And I know that word expert's thrown around a lot, but a part of my system, a part of the sales system, is becoming so good that you can't be ignored. Laura, exactly. And so when you are highly sought after and widely respected as an expert authority, then you are worth a lot of money to those people who see investing with you really as investing in themselves. They're seeing their own value, and they're like, well, shit, if I don't do this, I'm going to keep staying where I'm at. And you are helping them to see that they're just one choice away from stepping into this new level. And so for you, once you got the system in place, then what's on your mind is you can see, and I'll ask you again, how would your life be different if you're making an extra $12,000 to $60,000 every month? I mean, let's get back to this for a second, because this dreaming part is what's the magnet that's pulling all of your resourcefulness, pulling all your energy in. So here's my question. Let's have fun with this. Let's say you just had your first $12,000 week. Maybe it was $12,000 a month. And maybe it was more than that. But because you got rid of all your money shit, you're in your wealth frequency, you're attracting people who respect you and want to work with you. What's the very first thing you would use that money for? I mean, just imagine you open your banking app, you see all the deposits are there. What's the very first thing you would do? What's the very first thing you would do? Alex says, I book a trip to the Peru Mountains. Hilo says, I travel to Houston to celebrate with my honey. Yeah. Kelly says, pay off my credit cards. Yes, imagine the feeling of just having that weight off your chest. Henry says, buy mom the Jag. Yes. Laurie says, go to Egypt. Yeah, okay. What else? What else would you do with that money? And we're talking life-changing income here. When you make enough money to come in that you can feel it, Not just make a little, spend a little, make a little. No, fuck that. Get off that treadmill. What else would you do with that money? Because you have the sales system. And when you have a sales system in place, the people that are coming to you are only badasses. They're people who don't need babysitting. You know, they don't require hand holding. They're self-reliant. They're like, oh shit, I got this. And they're your counterparts, not your inferiors that you need to, wipe their tears. Have empathy, but tell me, which is more fun? How about working with people? Uli says, relocate to Bali. Uli, I'll see you there. Okay, so let's say this continues, okay? Every month you're generating this income. Where will you be in a year? I mean, describe your life 1 year from now. Think about that. We're going to go pretty quick here because there's a lot of information to get through. Where are you going to be a year from now? Callisto says, buy my mother the motorized wheelchair she needs that Medicare won't pay for. Look, when you have a sales system in place, you don't rely on anybody. All right. Now, how about this? Who else will be affected in your life by you making consistent sales? Who else is in your life that will be affected? And how will their life be different? Because of your choice to get this system up and running. Where will they be a year from now? What about 3 years from now? Where will their lives be after 3 years of seeing and being part of your success? What about 5 years from now? I'll never forget the day that my dad told me my dad, man, he's I love him so much. And I've learned so much from him. A couple of weeks ago, I went to visit him, and many of you know that he has Parkinson's. And so he's very much aware of his mortality, and he's very at peace with it. And he told me very, very quietly as we were having lunch at his house, same house I grew up in. And he said, I don't know if I taught you how to live well, but I intend to teach you how to die well. And I will never forget the day that he told me, years ago, that he never any longer worried about me. He said, I never worry about you being okay because I know you can take care of yourself, and I know that you know how to be valuable to other people. And I just remember how much that touched my heart, that he didn't have to worry about me because I could obviously take care of myself. You know, this goes so far beyond us learning some stuff. This is about affecting generations. And so, for you and for all the people that are in your life, how will they be affected? How will they be affected by your success? Once you have your own sales system in place and you're bringing that money in consistently, the ripple effect is huge. And so I really invite you to think about how that will make you feel. How will that make you feel? And what will it mean to you to have accomplished this? What will it mean to you to have accomplished this? Listen, I really got to hand it to you. You are doing magnificent. This is the deepest training that I've ever done. And so to share it with you, knowing your level of desire to get this system in place, knowing your level of priority that you're making this, and knowing the level of commitment that you have to your own growth, it just means the world to be able to share this with you. So I think it's time to get into the system. There are really only 3 components. Can't be that easy. Actually, there's only 3 things that you're going to have on your mind. There's only 3 things that you need to focus on. You got your journals out? Journals at the ready? Remember that every decision that we make is either based on love and expansion, or it's based on fear and resistance. This system works because it's taught and used by those who have gone first, who have become the client that they want to have, and they're operating in integrity, and they're operating from a place of radical truth-telling like you have today. And these 3 components, 1, 2, 3, as you learn the system and as you develop your own focus, it becomes like a language that you speak. And you just don't, when you feel fear come up, you don't even give it a second thought. You're like, oh, nice, fuel. Like Pac-Man. Waka, waka, waka. And you grab that fucker and you eat it. And it becomes power, and then you go and take action. So you don't ever experience fear or resistance once you have the system in place. And so there are 3 areas that we're going to focus on, 3 things. And all you have to do is focus on each one, and you have yourself a sale. Please write down these 3 words. By the way, real quick, you're not going to be writing down words like complexity, complication, time. None of that shit. 1, 2, 3. Figure these things out and you're good to go. Number 1, write this word down, please. Person. Write that word down, person. Person. Second word that I'm going to invite you to write down is promise. And if you want to type in the comments as well, you're welcome to do that. Person, promise. And the third component of this sales system is platform. Person, promise, platform. Now, I can hear a little bit of your brain maybe saying, person, but I want to help the world. Well, here's the harsh, beautiful reality. Trying to help everybody means that you stay stuck in dreamland. But once you dial in a person that you're going to help, then the momentum of that becomes magnetically attractive, and immediately you find yourself with another person, another person, another person, another person, another person. Next thing you know, you've got dozens of people that have paid you because they want the solution that you're offering. And next thing you know, you've helped a lot of people. So there's a huge clue there. Don't be afraid of the word niche. I got 99 problems, but a niche ain't one. Figure out the person. And I promise you, everything else follows from there, okay? And I'll share with you a real live example of how I figured this out. So when it comes to the person, here's the question that you're going to ask yourself. Who are they? Who are they? And one of my favorite things to do is working with a client or working with a fast-moving, badass group of people, and we all put our mental energy on a little time piercing, a little bit of empathetic communication, and we find out who is that person. Sometimes that person is you in the past. And so you're talking to that person. Matter of fact, my very first wisdom money that I ever made, money for what was in my mind, not just my body teaching martial arts or physical working out, labor. The first wisdom money that I ever received was from 20 martial arts instructors who each invested $5,000 to come and train for a weekend. And that weekend was sharing the experiences that I'd used to solve my problems. So when I wrote the letter and I made the invitation, I was basically making it to me in the past. So when I wrote the letter to them, I was really writing it to me. So they're reading it going, oh my God, this is me, because I knew who my person was. So number one, who are they? Second is the promise. So what's the promise? You guys want to have some fun with this? I'm not intending to make fun of anybody in particular here. This is just kind of the industry that I'm making fun of. Ready for this? Here's how not to make a promise. AKA offer. Hi, do you know me? You've probably seen me on CNN, Forbes, Fox, Bloomberg. I was recently featured in Inc. magazine because I paid $500 to get my article published, but I won't tell you that part. I've had my videos shared with all sorts of influencers that you've probably seen. Wait, you still don't know me? But here's my long list of testimonials that are copied and pasted from somebody else's website. Oh, wait. Here's all the letters after my name that show my credentials. Wait, no, let me tell you how. Here's my horrible story of the time that I stubbed my toe when I was 7 and it hurt so bad I couldn't even put my Keds on. Do you relate to me now? Did I connect with you through sympathy? Oh, okay, good. I have chills because I'm freaking myself out. This is the wrong way to make an offer. How about this? Hi, have you ever suffered from this quick problem that I'm just going to gloss right over because I really don't care about you. I just care about making sales. I'm not even going to talk about you because I don't give a shit about you. What I care about is my meticulously handcrafted program. And if you sign up for my program, here's what you get. Are you ready? What you get is you get 8 hours a day of painstakingly edited video with special graphics, special cool effects. We invested $358,000 in our own custom app that only crashes 2/3 of the time. And in fact, when you become a member of our super triple platinum inner quantum healing unicorn group, you will be part of an intimate collection of unique and brave souls, limited to 6 million. So that you get that personal touch. Not only that, but you get access to my pre-recorded content because I actually don't like talking to people live. Because then I have to know my shit. So join this program. It's only 8 hours a day. Best part is you get to be part of it for 5 years. In fact, we pride ourselves in the fact that our program takes longer to get through than paying off your average car at 24% APR. Do not make offers this way, okay? It's not about you. It's not about your stuff. You ready for this? This question can make you millions. Write this question down, please. When it comes to the promise, here's the multi-million-dollar question. What do they want most? What do they want most? What do they want most? This is a very different question than what do I want to give them most? Fuck that. It's not about you. What do they want most? Second question on the promise. How can I vividly describe their problem? Write that question down. It will make you millions of dollars. You're like, oh, what is the question? Why do you think I said it so slow? So you can write it down. This is the fast class. Let's go. How can I vividly describe their problem? Give an example of this. Alex and I were just talking about this, and I talked about it briefly in a podcast, but Freedom Teachers Academy, we go deep into this stuff so we can just get it done. This is you get right past all the figuring shit out. You just get it done. But imagine a scenario. Somebody's walking down the street, not really paying attention, and there's a curb, and they stubbed their toe on the curb, but Jesus, it hurts so much. And they're stifling a cry of agony because they want to look cool in front of everybody. But man, their toe's fucking hurting. So they just kind of limp, acting like they got the gangsta lean. And they're like, yeah, I just decide to walk like this sometimes because I'm cool like that. Meantime, they turn the corner like, oh, fuck. And they take off their foot. Or not their foot. They take off their shoe and they look down and their toe is bleeding. Bleeding. And they're like, oh, fuck, I might even lose that nail. My special big toe manicure smiley face is all scratched. And it hurts. And in that moment, they're looking around wondering what to do. It hurts so much. They can barely think of anything else. And they're looking around and all of a sudden they see 3 signs. 3 signs. They just happen to be there for the sake of this example. And one sign says, "Are you a distracted walker? Do you ever have a hard time staying focused on where you're going? Well, our new 36-week focused mindful walking program will help you to become the most mindful walker in all of your community. In fact, your friends will envy how present you are when you're walking. You will become so good at being present and walking that all you're going to want to do is just walk around and be present and experience the pleasures of mindful walking, trademark." That's the first sign. And this person's sitting there going, "Ah, my toe is bleeding. Ah, my toenail's about to fall off. Ah, and it fucking hurts. Ah, ah, ah." And then there's a second sign, and they're squinting through the pain, and they're reading the sign, and the sign says, "Have you been injured by a curb that was a little too high? Have you found yourself the victim of a curb that was just a little taller than average spec? Do you live in an area where high curbs are so prevalent that you never know when the next one's going to appear? Well, we invite you to join the Flat Curb Society. We are dedicated to ridding the world of those nasty, high, sharp curbs. In fact, our Flat Curb Society has successfully flattened 3 curbs in the last 18 months. And we are dedicated to a world of flat curbs, gentle gradient inclines, so that no one ever again has to be confronted with being victimized by a vertical piece of 8-inch concrete. Join the Flat Curb Society today. flatcurb.org. Meanwhile, this person is bleeding out. They're losing so much blood from their big toe. They're standing in a pool of toe blood. And they're like, fuck that first time. Fuck that. Oh shit. And then they see it in very simple, big block letters. It says, "Does your toe hurt? Is your toe bleeding? Are you this close to losing the nail? Did your smiley face manicure get all fucked up and does it look like this? With blood smeared on it? Does it hurt like a motherfucker and all you can think about is making the toe pain go away? Are you worried that you may die on a sharp curb in a pool of your own toe blood? Worried that you'll be found by your family thinking, if only he hadn't have bled from his toe? Call this number right now, 1-888-TOE BLOOD. Our trained toe technicians will be at your side within 5 minutes, delivered by massive drone. They will drop in and they will apply our patented toe repair situation. The pain will go away immediately. Not only that, but 9 times out of 10, we've been successful in restoring the toenail. Call us today. We're standing by, dedicated to toe salvation. Nailed it. All right. Meanwhile, back in reality, there are hardworking, kind-hearted, well-intentioned, very skilled people who are trying to teach mindfulness, and they're fucking broke. Because the person who's suffering from their equivalent of toe pain does not give a flying fuck about their mindfulness. What they want is a solution to their problem. So, second part of the system, the promise. What do they want, and how well can you vividly describe their problem? The second part of this promise, so we have person, remember? Then we have promise. And the first question on promise is, what do they want? How vividly can I describe their problem to them? Then the next part on the promise is, how can I help? How can I help? Okay, I want to really make sure you get this. This is critical. Matter of fact, this may be one of the most important parts of the whole training today. Understanding this has made me millions of dollars. Like, no bullshit, straight up. Not because I'm so good or even so smart. I just really understand this one thing and I apply it diligently. What do they want? How vividly can I describe their problem? And then how can I help? So here's what I want you to look at for a moment. This is fucking critical. I cannot stress how important this is. Their problem, vividly described, will inform you. It will show you exactly how you can help. The problem contains the solution. And God, if I could just open your brain and zap you with something, I would not do that because I'd never violate your free will choice. But if I could, here's what I would tell you. Your experience is not as important as you think. Your education, not as important as you think. I'm glad to see you guys are getting all these money signs. This is where the money is made, yo. You don't get paid for how cool you are. You don't get paid for how long you've been doing something. You get paid for solving fucking problems. So the better you get at describing their problem vividly, doing that work, which is not hard, it's very simple if you know what to do. And this is one of my favorite things in the world to do, is to spend the day, we crank the playlist, we drink some beverages, and we just have fun making up toe stories. And that takes about an hour. And by then, depending on whether or not we have wine in the room, by the time you finish making up the toe stories, then we brainstorm exactly what we would do for that person to solve it. And about 2/3 of the time, it doesn't have a lot to do with what you already did. It doesn't have, we can get blinded by our experience. Make sense? So I hope you got that. What do they want? How can you vividly describe their problem to them? And how can you help that problem? And if you don't know how to help, I can show you how to use very easy resources and then take anything you can find on Google, test your own experiences, put together a beta group, be a counterpart with that person, so you're not trying to, be the leader. You're like, hey guys, let's figure it out. And because you're committed and you're focused, next thing you know, you're getting some actual results. There are things within Freedom Teacher Academy, I've got the whole curriculum up there, but there's something that we do called the Results Generator. And there's another thing that we have, which is called an Experience Amplifier. And when you use this method for working with people called the Results Generator, you actually train people, you help people to get focused on what matters. That's what makes your sale value go way up. Not when you're lost in the weeds of this metaphysical stuff, which is cool, but that's a luxury. Anyway, when you have the Results Generator and the Experience Amplifier in place, you not only help people get faster results a lot better, but you also make it a really fun, engaging experience for them so that the work itself is a reward. Doing the work is fun for them and for you. Does this all make sense so far? You guys see how the system works? Person, promise. All right. Next up, third part in the system is really simple. Really simple. And that is platform. And what does that mean, platform? Well, platform is basically, where are these people? Where are these people? And they might be online, they might not. In just a second, I'm going to tell you a story of how I made my first $12,000 in coaching with no coaching experience outside of teaching martial arts. No list, I didn't even have a website, 300 friends on Facebook, but I understood what I now call the Results Generator, the Experience Amplifier, and I had this system. So in a second, I'll tell you how I made my first 12K. It took about 3 hours, and I'll show you how that happened. But the platform means you got to know where the people are. Second thing is, how will you be discovered? How will you be discovered? In other words, how are they going to find you? And it's very important that when they find you, they immediately associate you with a solution. This is why basically everything you've ever learned about marketing yourself is wrong. I mean, I'm not attacking anybody here, but if you think it's about your business cards or how cool your website looks, I'm here to tell you, I don't have business cards. I haven't had business cards in over 20 years. And yet I've generated, not millions, because a lot of that happened through Facebook, but I've generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in coaching fees by knowing where people are at and being discovered in the right way. And so this is a giant part of Freedom Teachers Academy, is where are they, how to show up there, but do it lighthouse style, so that the moment you enter, you know the exact phrases. Like when somebody says, so what do you do? There are phrases that you can use that immediately add time to what is called your engagement shot clock. Have you ever found yourself in a situation, a conversation with somebody, where you kind of think you might be able to help them, and next thing you know, you're babbling out all the shit about how successful you are, or, why you do what you do, or your purpose, or all this other shit that has nothing to do with making a sale. And so there is a couple of phrases that you can use when somebody says, what do you do? That immediately add time onto their shot clock. So they were like, oh, interesting, tell me more. And you can see their whole body language leans in. And then there's a series of questions that you can ask somebody that has them going, holy shit, wow, yeah, how do I work with you? How can we? There's a whole series of questions. So once you know where they are, whether it's live or whether it, like in a physical environment or whether it's online, you can make sales through chat from people that you're talking to, not by poaching and, snaking them from somebody else's group, but by genuinely being interested, genuinely demonstrating some expertise. And that's a big part of what Freedom Teachers Academy is about. How to show up and where to show up so that your person with the need of that promise sees you. And when they see you, it will be like love at first sight. Everybody else in the room will disappear and they'll be like, ah, they'll be drawn to you. You guys want to hear an example of this? I'll give you a live example of how I use these three parts of the system: people, promise, and platform. Okay, I'll give you an exact example. The year was 2013. I had sold the martial arts schools. I was getting divorced. A lot of scariness, a lot of uncertainty. And still, I had this system. I knew enough that I didn't need credentials. I didn't need years of coaching. All that mattered was I had to know my person. I had to know the promise. And I had to be found by them. I had to know where they are. So I knew that with the little bit of income that I had, was best invested. Not in at that time, I had already invested a lot in mentors and coaches. And I mean, I was either lucky enough or somehow not dumb enough to make the stupid mistake of figuring it out by myself. There is nothing more expensive than ignorance. And so when I'd already invested in mentors, I already had the system. So I knew that I had to invest in environment. I had to be around the people who I knew I could help. So I joined a program that had other entrepreneurs that I knew I'd be in a position to help. So I didn't waste time fucking around on Facebook before I had success. I went to go be successful first. I went to go make money first. And so I found an environment where there was all these people, and a lot of them were financial advisors. And I made friends with a guy. His name is Dave Van Buskirk. And Dave is the director of I can say the name. It's Edward Jones. So a very, very big financial investment services. I am not endorsing or unendorsing them. I'm just telling you as it happened. Dave was the regional director for Edward Jones in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Grapevine to be specific. And as he and I were having conversations, I didn't see him as a client. He was my buddy, and we were just having these conversations. But very quickly, I started asking lots of questions about his industry. I was genuinely curious, and I wanted to increase my knowledge base. So, as a result of me asking questions, he started to realize, oh shit, this guy actually knows some stuff about sales and marketing. And I just asked him, I said, how are the people in your region doing on their monthly quotas and their goals? And he's like, it's hit or miss. Some people yes, some people no. I was like, all right. And I said, well, would you be interested in maybe collaborating? I'm happy to do it as a gift. You're my friend. I'd love to come in and do it. And he's like, yes. Matter of fact, we do these lunch breakout sessions where every couple of months or every couple of weeks, we take the top producers and we invite them to attend a lunch, and we have a speaker come in. He said, I would love to have you speak to them on mindset, on marketing, and just their own wealth frequency. I said, man, I would love to. And I said, just so so I can get to know them, can we do a conference call? So he said, yeah. So he scheduled a conference call. Everybody in the region got on. And I just said, hey, my name is Jesse Elder. I'm friends with Dave. I'm really appreciative to be on here today. And I'm just curious, how many of you guys are ahead of your financial goals for the year? Crickets. And I said, okay, how many of you guys are even? Crickets. I said, how many are behind? Everybody's like, me. I said, okay, well, I know the feeling. And I told a story about the karate schools. And I said, I know that this is basic human psychology. And I'd be honored to share some of what I've learned with you guys in a lunch session if you're up for it. They're like, yes. The bottom line is, a couple weeks later, I show up, 6 people were in the room. No problem. So for an hour, about an hour and 10 minutes, I followed a very specific formula that was part of the promise, part of describing the problem, part of helping them see their power in changing it, also letting them know through their own intelligent analysis that if they kept doing the same shit they always did, they're going to keep getting the same results. They realized, just like we all realize, if I want to have this future, I have to go first. I have to change. I have to do something I've never done before. And so at the end of the lunch, they're all fired up. And I said, here's what we can do. I would love to work with you. I've got a 6-week coaching program. All it takes is 6 weeks to develop the habits of this wealthy mindset. You eliminate your resistance to the activities, so you just find yourself naturally being excited about money-making activities. How's that sound? And they're like, yeah, great. I said, perfect. Normally I would charge $10,000 for this, but that's in the martial arts. And instead, you guys can all split the cost. And so we're going to work together for 6 weeks. This is how much it's going to be. We're going to do 1 call a week, and it's going to be $2,000. And there was silence in the room. And by the way, you guys are about to hear a money-making objection buster. You ready? One other quick thing, sidebar. Until you are so comfortable handling so-called objections, until you feel an ease and a mastery with objections, you'll always be afraid to sell. So anyway, this is important. So I said, here's the deal. It's $2,000, and you can take care of it with a credit card or PayPal, whichever's best for you. And then I shut up. And all 6 of them are sitting at the table, and they're looking at me like this. And then they're looking at each other. So I'm just sitting there. Finally, one woman spoke. And she said, Jesse, it sounds great. I'm totally in. I'm the type of person that needs to think about it, so I'm going to think about it. I'm going to meditate about it over the weekend. And I'll definitely call you back. I will definitely call you back. And then I'll get going. And I said, I completely understand where you're coming from. And is it okay if I ask you a question? She's like, yeah, of course. And as soon as she had said, I'm going to think about it, all the other advisors, all 5 of them, start going like this. Think about it. Now, by the way, wealthy people are swift implementers. Broke, struggling people think about everything. Thinking about things is a skill. Being decisive is a skill. Guess which one will make you rich? So I said, can I ask you a question? And she said, yeah, sure. And I said, you do a lot of prospecting, right? She said, well, yes, every week. And I said, and if you have, you have people coming in every day to invite them to, invest and invest their money with you, right? She's like, well, yeah. And I said, how many times have you ever gone through your talk with someone, and at the end, they looked at you and they said, I love it. I definitely want you to be my financial advisor. And then they said, I'm going to go home and think about it. And they all start laughing. And she said, oh, I hear that every day, a couple of times a day. And I just looked at her and I said, now you know why. Because you're attracting the exact sort of prospect that you are. Think-it-overs attract think-it-overs. Indecisive people attract indecisive people. Whereas swift implementers, people who see what they want and they do it and they do whatever it takes, they attract and they inspire that behavior in others. I said, so really you've got 2 choices. You can go home and think about it, and you can continue the cycle and continue to vibrate that and continue to attract that, or you can break the cycle. You can go first. You can step into this empowered, decisive, wealthy, productive version of you, you can go first and you can invest in yourself. You can get the training, get the system, so that the next prospect that walks through your door is having so much clarity that they'll invest with you. And you could have heard a pin drop. All 6 advisors were like this. And then, I'll never forget, his name's Dave Cubbage. Awesome dude. Dave reaches in his wallet. He says, well, fuck it, I'm in. Takes out his credit card and slides it across the table. And I expected that. So I just looked at him and said, awesome, Dave. I can't wait for us to start working together. And I can't wait for you to build your book, because that's their language, build your book of business. So I took his card and then I just said, all right, who else is in? One by one, every one of them took out their credit card and they started throwing their credit cards at me. I felt like they were throwing money at me. Let me just say it. And so I just real quick wrote down the credit card numbers and ran it through Stripe or Square and gave them their cards back, immediately scheduled their calls, and it was great. And that was my first $12,000. It took about 20 minutes of conversation with my friend Dave. It took about 30 minutes on the conference call. And it was another hour and a half by the time everything was said and done. And so here's the thing. I knew that they were going to do it. Because when somebody who is successful, when somebody who is resourceful sees something that's such a clear opportunity for them to move forward, they always find a way. Now, I'm sure if I had, maybe 20 people in the room, maybe the averages start to go. But with a tight group like that, it's very, very easy. And I was willing to work with them too. I mean, I knew that, hey, if they had to, figure it out or take a couple of days, like I respect that. So that was how I used this system. Person, promise, and platform to make my first $12,000. And I went on to do that over and over and over again. And it just became easy. And Josh, I love that question. Josh says, how big is the smile on your face? Here's what's interesting. There was no spike in emotion, because I had done this so many times that it was formulaic. And then I wasn't consumed with the sale. I got to focus on the service, which incidentally, this is a huge issue for a lot of people. A lot of people are so preoccupied with marketing and sales that they forget about the human connection. They forget about actually showing up and being a badass real person working with other badass, decisive, implementers. And so I love teaching people how to just get the sale part out of the way so you can just enjoy the relationship and enjoy working with committed people. Does that make sense? And you never struggle trying to make a sale when this happens. And so these 3 things, if you focus on these 3 things, people or person, promise, and platform, these 3 things will make you wealthy in every sense of the word. Time is not the factor. This is not about years or even months, and not even weeks, really. It's a matter of hours focused on getting this right. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about this focus and getting it right. Is this all making sense so far? I mean, you really now, know all about what it takes to actually succeed. You know the 3 things to focus on. One thing I want to tell you guys also, I have so much respect for you. I mean, we've been doing this for, you guys are deep in this training. You're continuing to lean forward because I can feel how hungry you are to apply this and just start getting these results in your life. Have you noticed how how fun this has been. Even though it's not comfortable to tell yourself the truth, it's not always comfortable to recognize shit that you were unaware of, that you can't go back to it. But isn't there freedom in that? Isn't there freedom in knowing shit? The only way is forward. And so I really got to hand it to you. I mean, you've been really on your own leading edge, and just the epiphanies are popping today. So these three things was what cuts through the bullshit. Or it's got a great question. Jesse, what if your audience are regular people, not business people or in business? Doesn't matter, quite candidly. And I don't see anybody as regular, personally. I see people as being where they've chosen to be, and I see what is possible for them. And all I see is the gap in whether or not they're willing to do what it takes to get to the next level. And it's a choice. It's a choice to stay stuck, or it's a choice to move forward. And it really, I mean, it's the same for all of us all the time. You know, when you say, hey, my desire is 100, I'm like, okay, cool. And I say, well, what's your priority for this? And you're like, no, this is 100. Like, this is the most important thing. And then you're like, okay, well, also, like, I'm committed to this. Okay, cool. Once I see that and once I hear that from you, I'm like, fuck it, game on, let's do this. And then I can teach the system. I can show you these three things that can make you millions of dollars. And now the question is, what do you want? And what it really comes down to, you can, I guess, do nothing with all of this. I don't think that's you, but a lot of people have that cycle. The second thing you can do is take everything you learned today and go and figure it out on your own. So you can take everything that we've learned today and you can go and implement it and you know, practice and test and trial and error. And as a result of doing that, I'm sure that you'll look back a year from now and you'll see some progress based on what you've learned today. And so that's one option for you. The other option is what I've got for you, which is to consider becoming part of Freedom Teachers Academy. Everything that I've shared with you is the direction that we're going. And Freedom Teachers Academy is really about three things: making sales, changing lives, and working from anywhere. Until you have those three things in place, the 5 freedoms remain a myth. So you got to be able to make sales at will. And it's easy when you're using the system. What you do must change lives. And that's a big part of what we're going to work on in Freedom Teachers Academy, is how to become so good that you can't be ignored. And I'll explain the qualifications in a moment. But then also be able to work from anywhere. Until you can work from anywhere, you're not actually expanding too much in your value because you're staying in the same, spot. But if you start getting out of the world and you start seeing more and going to more events and workshops and conferences, not only are you going to build more business and make more money, but you're going to be you're going to be becoming more valuable. You're going to be becoming more smarter. You're going to get all this experience that makes you even more valuable to the people you're serving. Make sales, change lives, work from anywhere. And here's basically what the program does. The program is, first of all, it gives you a lot of support. And I've got the whole curriculum up there, but support is advanced personal development for those that wish to produce millions. And here's the reality. Those that are making millions by changing lives do not have the same daily routines. They do not have the same thought patterns as someone who's trying to make it. The crazy part, once I understood this, it blew me away. If you know what those rituals are, if you know what those practices are, and you become that person, time to the result disappears. And so having the support, your own practice, your own rituals, your own training, including around the sales system, is part of Freedom Teachers Academy. The second part of Freedom Teachers Academy is the skills, like how you're actually fulfilling the promise. How do you make working with you Such a badass experience that pretty soon everybody's telling all their friends. And next thing all you have to do is send a few text messages and say, hey, I'm getting ready to open another spot, or I'm getting ready to open another workshop. And everybody's like, me, I want in, because they know it's a great investment. So there's the support, who you're becoming, your personal development. Then there is the skill of what you're delivering. And the third part of Freedom Teachers Academy is the system. People, promise, platform. And this is something that I expect everybody will we're going to go through so many times and so many examples that you'll be making money well before the program's over. And the best investment that you can make is the one that puts money back in your pocket. You know, when I paid my coach $10,000 to learn exactly what to say when I answered the phone, exactly what to say when somebody walked through the door of my karate school. No way in a million years I would have figured that out on my own. And it cost me $10,000 to learn how to say that and to learn exactly what to say and to get the manual and the materials. But the reality is, well, actually, let me ask you this. What is the biggest expense in any business? I mean, if you have a coaching practice or if you want to have any sort of service business, what is the biggest expense in your business? Some people say it's rent, or some people say it's employees. Some people say it's taxes. None of that is inaccurate, but it's all incomplete. Do you know what the biggest expense in your life is? Is the money you could be making right now, is the money you could have made this week, but you didn't make because you don't have a system. So the biggest expense is the money you're not making. When I invested $10,000 with that program in the first year, I made back my investment multiple times over the next couple of months, and I continue to make millions of dollars by applying that one thing, by applying that system. And so as we go deeper and deeper into the system, it's going to get better and better. It's going to get more fun, and you're going to start making sales as easy as you breathe. You're literally going to run into people on the street that you know you can help, because you realize it's not about your skill and your experience. It's about your perspective, your perception. And when you know how to position yourself and how to talk to people so it's about them and you know the right questions, money starts finding you. Of course, there's three parts to this, right? Support, skill, and system. Josh, a lot of overlap, man. The programs are compatible. Let's put it that way. However, Ultimate Mind is not a requirement for Freedom Teachers to start making money for people, because we are covering mindset specifically around money. Okay, so Freedom Teachers Academy. Let's get down to the nitty gritty here. It's a 12-week immersion. 12 weeks that we get to dive deep and start having fun here. Mariah, that's a great question. I'll touch on that in a moment, I promise. So for 12 weeks, we'll be developing your support, and I'll be supporting you with your own rituals, your own practices, including meditations. Meditation will play a very important part for your pre-paving, for your understanding of normalizing all this money. And there's something very special coming with that I'll tell you about in a second. But for 12 weeks, we work on your support, your own inner experience. We develop your skills to take it even further so that you are even more valuable to the people that you're helping. And then this system: person, promise, platform. Okay? Here's what makes this program very unique. This is challenge-based, not content-based. So I'm not just going to give you a bunch of ideas and say, hey, go try it. You're going to have very specific assignments, very specific challenges. So every week, I'm going to give a challenge to the group, and we're going to do this in a members-only, Academy members group. And I'm going to give you some training, some examples, answer all your questions, give you the challenge. And then at the end of the week, we're going to do another video to celebrate. Everybody's going to be, troubleshooting. We're going to be supporting each other. And the reason I'm making this challenge-based is because words don't teach. Real life experience is the only thing that actually teaches. So you're going to get challenged. So it's 12 weeks. By the time you finish, you're going to have the skill of creating amazing experiences for and with people. You'll also have your promise so dialed in, and you'll be able to just develop promises one after the other because you'll know the skill of finding their problem. And not to sound gleeful about people's pain, but because people are always going to have problems, you're always going to have employment. Pretty simple. So I've designed this very specifically, drawing on decades of training people mentally, physically, then later in my career, emotionally, financially. And I'm putting the best of what I've ever discovered into these 12 weeks. But this is really only for those who are serious about succeeding with their service. So this is not for people who just want to join a program, watch a bunch of videos, and not do anything with it. This is for the good doers, not the do-gooders. Make sense? Shall we get into the requirements? I think it's that time. You ready? I feel fucking excited right now because I already feel what's going to happen for those of you who are in this. It's going to be fucking legit. I'm already just I can already see us all at the end of this program partying like crazy. And because you're going to be rolling in cash, and so you're probably going to fly there first class. You're going to be taking a limo, or maybe not. Maybe you'll just hire a horse and buggy. It's up to you. All right, here we go. Number one requirement. If you're going to be accepted into Freedom Teachers Academy, number one requirement, you must have a beginner's mind. You must have a beginner's mind. And here's why. I don't want to support the bullshit idea that you need years and years of experience to learn how to add massive value to somebody's life quickly. That's the result of a system, not how long you've been doing something. So you must have a beginner's mind. And some of the stuff I'm going to share with you is so fucking simple that part of your brain might reject it. And so you're gonna have to plug my computer in. That will help. You're gonna have to have a beginner's mind. Okay, so number one, beginner's mind. Number two, by the way, real quick, you can have tons of experience. That's cool. I mean, the more the better. That's awesome. It's gonna add to your knowledge base. That just has nothing to do with you making fast sales. Making sales comes from the system. Person, promise, platform. Okay? So have a beginner's mind regardless of your level of experience. Number two, I will tolerate no excuses, no whining, and no drama. So we do not allow victim stories, we do not allow whining, and we do not allow drama. And so if somebody, and I'm not saying this is you, probably is not you by the time you've been here this long, but there are people in the world who all they're looking for is a place, to be told, hey, it's okay that you're really fucked up, and I'm so sorry, and that's not this program. This program is like Navy SEALs meets Monty Python with a little bit of Aladdin's lamp thrown in. Rub that lamp. All right, so no drama, no whining, no victim stories. All right. Next requirement. You must be ready to begin ASAP. That means within from the time that you jump in, the time that you are in, to the time that you begin some of the pre-work and you begin taking action and you begin implementing, you need to be ready to do that within maximum 48 hours. So you got to be ready to begin ASAP. Okay, there will be a little bit of pre-work. Some of you I know are already going to make money just with what you learned in the pre-work, and that's cool. Next requirement. Any questions so far? These requirements all make sense? Okay. Next, you must have an extremely strong desire, 100 or more, to get your sales system up and running fast so that you can start making sales. It might sound weird, but there are people in this world, hopefully not any in Freedom Teachers, but there are some people who all they care about is bragging to everybody else about the cool group that they're part of. I will reject that. So I only want people in this program who have a burning desire, 100 or higher, out of 0 to 100, 100 minimum, to get your sales system up and running so you can start making sales. Next, you must lead by example. And what this means is that you have to live a life that is congruent. We are going to be doing some deep work within Freedom Teachers Academy to investigate every aspect of our life where we might be able to use an integrity upgrade. Let's just say it that way. You might have, some unfinished business with somebody that's actually killing your sales. So we're going to lovingly, non-judgmentally, very unconditionally accepting, we're going to clear up any messes that are there, and we're going to do it swift. So you must be willing to lead by example, and this means being the client that you want to have. Does that make sense? Similar to my financial advisor client who realized, oh shit, the reason she's attracting all these looky-loos and all these, what my friend Ryan Stewman calls kangaroos, people that hop in and they're like, oh neat, and they hop away. The reason she was attracting that is that's who she was being. So you must be willing to lead by example and be the client that you wish to attract. Okay, next one. This is critical. You must have some experience already at working with and helping people. Okay? And here's what I mean by that. There are some people who just want to hide behind a keyboard, or they just want to hide behind a computer. They don't love people. They don't want to interact with people. They don't want to engage with people. They just want to write some crafty sales copy that then generates mailbox money and they're making millions of dollars. I have very good friends who are that way, who have made millions of dollars online, sending out letters, doing business stuff, doing trading, and that's cool. But that's not me. And I'm looking for people that I like, that I want to work with. That means they have to want to work with people and like people. So you got to love people. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And you must have some experience working with and helping people. Now, whether that means that you've had coffee with a friend and at the end of it, they're like, oh my God, this helped me so much. Thank you. Boom, check, you're qualified on this particular thing. And you might have been working with people for years, but you have to have that component. Does that make sense? There's not going to be anybody in this group who wants to hide from people, avoid people. Okay? Does this make sense so far? So it doesn't matter if you're a level 1 Freedom Teacher. If you meet these requirements, we'll get you there. But you have to have these requirements. Making sense so far? Okay. All right, so let's get into the details. This is 12 weeks, and here's what you're going to get. Please write these down, okay? Please write each of these down because I want you to have a crystal clear picture of everything that you're going to be getting. All right, first thing you're getting is an Academy members community. So we will be we have a separate group, which is for Academy members only. Every week, there will be 2 videos. These videos will be done live. I'm arranging all of my travel around this to make this the priority. And I'll answer all your questions in a second. So members only community, 2 weekly videos. There's also, because of these challenges and because everything is building on the next, there's going to be a compound effect. So as you're developing these skills, as you're going through these challenges, even if you've never made an offer before, even if you've never gotten paid, the only reason you haven't made a sale yet is you didn't have the system. But if you fit this requirements, if you fit everything I've just shared with you, all it takes is getting the training, getting the system down, and finding your person, the promise, the platform, where are they, and knowing exactly what to say. Look, I've taught 17 and 18-year-old teenagers how to exactly communicate with the parent of a 3, 4, 5-year-old child and have that parent go, this is the most valuable thing I've ever seen, and fork over $14,000 cash, $14,000 on a credit card, when this teenager is making like $10 an hour. They got paid a very nice commission on that sale, and then they got to enjoy the teaching. But my point is, I can show anybody, as long as they have a good heart, they give a shit about people, they're willing to practice empathy, as I've learned from my dear friend and mentor, Ron Lynch, who you hear more about in a second. If you're willing to practice empathy and you're willing to go first and create value, you're going to be making sales. And so part of what I'm really excited about is taking people who have never done any money before and making sales. It is like, it's a natural drug. It feels so good, especially seeing the life change that starts to happen once you start getting this down. So we're doing 2 weekly videos leading up to this live training and graduation. And this live training will be both graduation, it'll be a celebration, but it's also going to be, drum roll please, you guys have no idea how hard I've been working on this. I mean, I do a lot of stuff in Flow, but this shit I've been working on. Every member of Freedom Teachers Academy who graduates, that means everybody who completes the challenges, everybody who does the assignments, everybody who goes all the way through, at the graduation, which will take place in January, you will be certified to teach the Prime Light meditation. I believe this will be a massive industry. There are already people out there doing it, some doing it very well, some doing it okay, and that's fine because it's a giant market and there's something for everybody. But when you are certified to teach a meditation that is already proven to work for hundreds of thousands of people around the world, you will be helping people connect with their own higher self, their own future self, getting into this delta wave state, which is the manifestation wave, as taught and told by many doctors. So if you did nothing else but go through 12 weeks of Freedom Teachers and come out the other side certified to teach Prime Light, then your marketing gets really easy. And I say this with pride, as little ego as possible. If you send a video with me talking about meditation and you send it to somebody and they're like, oh my God, that's really cool, I'd love to learn it. You say, well, as a matter of fact, I am certified to teach that. I've trained with Jesse. I've worked with him for months and I've got certificate. I'm one of less than 150 people worldwide. I mean, hopefully all 150 go through it, but some people might choose not to. That's cool. But you'll be able to tell people that I'm certified to teach this meditation. And I'll even show you, me, Jesse Elder, I'll show you how to put packages together so you can begin leading your own meditation retreats, so you can begin incorporating meditation into whatever else you're doing. Some people might find that it's more fun and more rewarding and gets better results for their clients by just focusing on meditation and bringing their full presence to that practice. You might find that that's what you want to end up doing, and that's totally cool. But at the very least, it's a badass bonus. But this one alone, being certified to teach Prime Light, will be worth many times the investment in the program. I mean, remember those people that we talked about? You got 3 people a week investing from 1 to 5K. Let's just say you have 3 people a week. Just by going out and having coffee every day at a different place and striking up a conversation with somebody that's very natural and organic, and them saying, so what do you do? And you say, well, and you say these specific phrases that have them go, what? Really? And you're like, yeah. You talk to a couple of people, you're going to have them go, shit. And then we'll be making videos for them and all that kind of stuff. But bottom line is you can easily enroll 3 people a week at a flipping 1,000K. Man, people will spend more than that every couple of months doing that shit. Chun, I want to address your question here. How is certification a good thing? Second generation is never as good. I feel it's more important to create your own product. I could not agree more once you've achieved massive success. I never created a system based on my own failures. How does that make any sense? Hi, everybody. I've never achieved any real results, but I just put together this badass system based on my track record of failure. It's very interesting, though. It's really good stories. No. How do you learn music? You learn an instrument by playing a song that somebody else wrote. So you can learn to play the instrument. Then you can create your own music. And again, if somebody's been struggling for longer than a couple of days and they're not making sales, that creativity is very expensive. Those are my thoughts based on teaching thousands of people. Yeah, Chun, exactly. Get certified, get a track record, build up a few hundred testimonials, go and make at least a couple $100,000. Then you're standing on the 5 freedoms and you can say, based on my experience here, this is what I've gone on to create. Now you have real life credibility. Awesome. I'm really glad you asked that too, man. Or mentioned that. All right, so you're going to get certified to teach Prime Light. That alone is worth many times the course. Alex, this is the moment they're going to find out about the bonus. Are you ready? By the way, there's 2 more bonuses. We're including the collection. So for those of you that don't have the collection, we're including the collection. What is the collection? If you don't know, the collection is every virtual program that I've created since 2013, including Journal Secrets, including Prime Light, including Wealth Frequency, which will tune your ass to become the most wealthy version of you. Ethical Cult Building, 360 Mentor Academy, which give a structure for how to do these things. We're going to go a lot deeper into the actual language, the actual phrases that you can say that generate cash. So all of that is there. That's over $10,000 in those programs only, okay? So you're getting the collection. You're getting 2 weekly videos for 12 weeks. You're getting a live training and graduation. You're getting certified to teach Prime Light. And then, are you ready? As I was thinking about, what can we include that will make this a no-brainer for the right people? And I started thinking about what I value. What do I love to do? Well, what do I love? I love location freedom. I love being able to get my phone and just travel around the world. And as long as I got Wi-Fi, I can rock it out. When we were doing Ultimates 2, I had just gotten a motorcycle, and I took the motorcycle from Austin up to Dallas, and I took the beautiful scenic route. And along the way, I stopped to teach Ultimates. So I stopped, and I was on Wi-Fi, I was outside, and I'm sweating. I had looked at the video later, had grease on my face, and it was the most intense video. It was so fun. And then I got back on the motorcycle, and I kept going, and then I stopped. I had a coaching call. And then I got back on the motorcycle, kept going, then I arrived to Dallas. I mean, to me, that is the ultimate, to help people, to make money, and to have freedom. So I'm thinking, all right, what can we include? What can we include? And I thought, well, what do I love? Well, you know what I love? I love ultimate location freedom. I love being able to get in my vehicle, which has been massively upgraded. It's got this badass rooftop tent. Who's seen the pictures of the Overlander? This is what I love. I love to get in that vehicle and head anywhere. It's got this badass rooftop tent. It's got fuel tanks on the back, so it's got extended range. It's got this grill up front, so you can do a little off-roading gently. It's got these lights. I mean, it's baller. You guys have seen it. So then I started thinking, you know what would be amazing? And as soon as I had the feeling, I'm like, oh fuck. All right, yes, this is a done deal. I've never done this before. But here's the thing. If you are one of the 150 spots, I'm going to put your name in a drawing. And at our graduation, one of these Freedom Teachers is going to win my Overlander. It's true. I am going to lovingly pass on the legacy of the Freedom Vehicle to one lucky mother trucker. Isn't that awesome? I'm so fired up about it. Now, if you end up winning and you don't want the truck, for whatever reason, I respect that, and we will give you the equivalent value in airfare, okay? So we'll give you the equivalent value in airfare. But I got to tell you, that Overlander has seen some memories. There is an energy to that thing. I mean, Alex can attest to it. He's taken it out for some road trips. That thing has energy, all right? So one Freedom Teacher is going to win the Overlander. Whoo! All right. How are we doing so far? By the way, this is our Freedom Teacher Academy. Okay, this is our Freedom Teacher Academy. Anna, that's a great question. The vehicle is worth probably, I don't know, 60,000-ish. I mean, it's got some miles on it, but there's a lot of extra shit that's been done to it. Plus, it's got my energy on it. What can I say? So here's the thing. This is Freedom Teacher Academy. So everything I've just shared with you is Freedom Teacher Academy. And this is the 100 spots that are available for this, okay? I know there's a lot of you guys that want more. So I'm going to explain. We do have an upgraded version of Freedom Teachers Academy. There are only 35 spots available for this. But I think you're going to dig this, okay? Here's what it is. So there's 150 spots available, but there's only 100 for this level, for Freedom Teachers Academy. There are 35 spots for this upgraded version. And then there are 15, which really are only by invite, and I'm going to be messaging those people separately because these are people that are already doing $1 million a year. If you're watching this, you know who you are. We've already talked about this, and we'll talk soon. But this is the upgraded version. For those of you that want Freedom Teacher Academy and you want more, here's what you're going to get. You get all access to Freedom Teacher Academy, plus we'll be doing a weekly mastermind call just for the 35 of you. So it's a much tighter, very intimate group. And this is where we'll do a Zoom call. So we're all going to be on the video together, and I'll be doing hot seat coaching. So every week I'm going to talk about the material. You're going to go through the challenge, but then what we're going to do is actually do live back and forth Q&A. So you'll be learning and applying by seeing someone else's problem solved. Somebody will say, yeah, I was on a call the other day and then they had this objection. I didn't really know what to say. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's rock this out. You're going to get to see that live. That is something that I've easily charged $5,000 a month for people to be in one-on-one small group mentoring before. But we're including that with the Freedom Teacher Mastermind. Okay, this is upgraded Freedom Teacher Academy. So all access to the materials plus a weekly call. Then we're doing 3 live events. 3 live events that will be throughout October, November, December, January, throughout the next couple of months. And whether or not you attend each one live, it will be live streamed and you'll be able to tune in virtually or get the recordings, okay? So you're doing weekly video mastermind call with hot seat coaching. You're getting 3 live events. And then we're also setting up a private messaging app. I don't know if you're familiar with Slack, but it is amazing for team communication, for project management. And that's really what we are. This is like an elite force. So these 35 people are going to be in Freedom Teachers Mastermind. The video, the weekly videos with the challenge and then the follow-up video, 2 videos every week, that's part of Freedom Teacher Academy. If you're one of the 35 in Freedom Teacher Mastermind, then you're in the Academy, you get those 2 videos every week, but you also get the weekly Zoom Mastermind. And we'll be taking apart people's promise, and we'll be looking at the words. I mean, words matter. Words can make the difference between millions of dollars or thousands of hours in wasted time. So words matter, and we're going to be getting down to specifics on a personal level, even more than we do in Freedom Teacher Academy. And then you have access through Slack because we'll be doing the messaging back and forth. You guys are being connected with each other there. All right, so these are the 2 paths that you can take. There are 100 spots in Freedom Teacher Academy. There are only 35 in Freedom Teacher Mastermind. The value of all of this, just so you have a sense of where this is at, you're doing, just in Freedom Teacher Academy, Mastermind gets this as well, you're doing 24 live sessions. I mean, think about how much you did today in one. So as this value gets stacked and as you're applying and getting better every week, you're going to see your skills increasing, your confidence increasing. So I haven't done hourly coaching in a long time, but when I did, it was $1,000 an hour. And so whether you are in Freedom Teacher Academy, one of the 100 there, or you're one of the 35 that are in the mastermind, then you'll have access to these sessions. This is the backbone, the core of the material. 24 sessions. At $1,000, that value is $24,000. Then there's the collection, and the collection is worth, if you total all the programs up, it's $10,500, including the new Conscious Cash Flow Triad. So there's a whole other thing. Just that program alone will make you money. But then we're adding in the live train. This is a live event, so you're actually going to come and train with me and the rest of the Freedom Teachers. And so even if you're in Freedom Teachers Academy and you're doing that one training, that's $5,000 of value, minimum $5,000 for a business training. I've sold many business trainings at $10,000 and $12,000. My private days are $15,000 currently. So a weekend of doing this training at $5,000 is very easy, and you make your money back super fast. If you're in the mastermind, there are 3 events. So that's an extra $15,000. Plus, there's the Prime Light certification. These are separate communications that I'm going to have with you guys. Challenge video, yes. You have the check-in and the celebration video. There's lots of action in the community. But the certification is something where I'll be sharing with you not only how to improve your own meditation practice, but how to communicate and guide somebody else through this. Whether it's to help someone to resolve trauma, to help someone develop clarity around their purpose, to help someone tap into their subconscious or superconscious intelligence so they can start getting access to the best ideas of their life. This is an entirely separate offer. I have never offered a certification before. I have whiteboarded it 1,000,000 times, but I never felt the green light and the clear yes to do it. As I've seen what's happened within Freedom Teachers, as I developed the qualifications, I knew that we're going to have a bunch of badasses who are going to be awesome at sharing this very powerful technology of the mind and the body with people that they're serving. So that certification alone, easily worth $8,000. And just what you would make by adding that back into your own value creation, you can make that up in a weekend. You bring a few people in for $1,000 meditation, mindfulness, results-oriented retreat. I show you the experience amplifier, the results generator, how to teach people to measure their own success and their own progress. You take people through a day or a couple of days, not only did you have the most fun making a ton of money, but the people that leave that walk out as the brightest, best, most high frequency version of themselves. Can you tell I'm excited about the Prime Light certification? So that certification alone, easily $8,000. you can get the meditation course, but you'll only be certified if you're in Freedom Teachers Academy or the Mastermind. So Freedom Teachers Academy by itself, 24 sessions, the collection, live training plus certification for Prime Light, that's a $47,500 program. I just want you to be clear on the value of this. There are MBAs that cost 2 or 3 times that amount that still don't show you exactly how to create real world value. So if the price was $47,500, you'd be able to earn that in maybe a couple of months. So there's that. Now, if you're in the Mastermind is another $5,000 a month in value because of the weekly members only Zoom calls with the hot seat coaching. But then you're getting 3 dedicated trainings just for Mastermind members. So that's $15,000. And then access to that private Slack where I'm even going to be sharing some of my most off-humor jokes and going to be sharing a little bit more about the more metaphysical sides of making money rain on you. Shit's going to get weird in that Slack. So I don't know. The value on that, priceless. But that means that the value of the actual Freedom Teachers Mastermind would be $64,500. So do you see the value in all this? Freedom Teacher Academy, $47,500. Freedom Teacher Mastermind, $64,500. I'm obviously not going to ask for that amount today. And the reason is, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, because I feel that you've invested a lot of your energy and your time already just by being part of the Freedom Teachers community. You've invested time today to be on this entire training. And to me, that really means something. It says a lot about your desire, which you said is 100. It says a lot about your priority, which you said is 100. And it says a lot about your commitment, which you said is 100. So since you are demonstrating that commitment to me, and you're demonstrating that commitment to yourself, I feel it's only fair to match that commitment and to give you an incentive and to give you a big thank you, okay? So here's what you get. Freedom Teacher Academy, there are only 100 spots. And if you're watching this on the replay and you go to register and you get refunded, it's because the 100 filled. I'm committed to serving at a very deep level these 100 people in Freedom Teachers Academy. It would actually be easy, and some of my marketing friends said, just do 50% discount. You know, it's worth $45,000. You know, just charge 20 and a half. You know, they'll find a way. But I really thought about my own journey, and I remember when I was trying to figure this stuff out, and you know, I didn't have the ability to do that. So I thought, you know what, fuck it. So for 100 people today, if you're qualified, if you match the criteria that I said, and if you're ready to start making daily sales by applying the system, if you're ready to charge what you're worth, and if you're ready to start living this life of impact, getting paid money to change lives and work from anywhere, then for 100 people, today, there's an 89% discount. That means to get started in Freedom Teacher Academy, and we're going to put the link in just a moment. It's first come, first in, okay? $5,000. A single investment of $5,000 gives you access to 12 weeks Freedom Teacher Academy. Everything that I've mentioned. Let's go ahead and drop the link in there, team. $5,000, first come, first serve. If you are one of the 35 who's ready to be part of my mastermind and you want to be in the Freedom Teacher Mastermind, then there's an 84% discount off of that $64,500 value. 35 spots, $10,000. Once they're gone, they're gone. $10,000 is making 2 sales. Once I show you the system of how to find your person, find their problem, and then make a promise around that. What do they want? Can you describe it? Well, I'll work with you step by step to describe it. And you'll be able to describe it in a way that the person whose toe is bleeding will hear your words and your words only. So you close 2 sales, you paid for your mastermind. But then you can keep closing sales for as many people as you're committed to helping. And that's the beauty of this system. The only limitation is your desire to help other people and to receive fair value for that. So there are 100 spots available in Freedom Teacher Academy. There are 35 spots in the Freedom Teacher Mastermind. For those of you that are level 3 and you're already doing high 5 figures per month, you can send me a private message, or you probably have my cell number already because we've already started talking about it. But if not, feel free to text me, 512-872-0877. If you are one of those level 3s, you're already making 5 figures a month helping people, and you'd like to turn that into a 6-figure a month business, or you'd like to develop your own movement. You're already doing that, but this is the focus of this inner circle. The highest level inner circle is invite only. I'd love to talk to you about it if you're ready to jump in. So shoot me a text, 512-872-0877. If you're not at that level and you text me, chances are I probably won't even respond because I'm busy having fun with Freedom Teacher Academy, rocking the Freedom Teacher Mastermind, and serving the inner circle. What questions do you guys have? I know some of you guys are already in, so I'll welcome you officially within the group once I see it. In the meantime, I'm here to answer all your questions that you have. And if you are in a position where you know what you want, and yet what you've practiced is the thinking part, you've probably gotten really good at thinking it over. And you might be feeling some concern. You might be feeling some fear. You might be feeling some resistance. So my question is, really, how much longer are you willing to allow yourself to be controlled by that fear? How much longer would you like to wait before you start making sales? Lucy says, will you be running Freedom Teachers Academy again when this first round is done? I have no plans to do that. Right now, I believe that with the people that are coming in, already knowing the energy and the attitude of who's coming in, I will most likely not want to go and teach the same material all over again. Instead, I'd rather go deeper and go faster with those people. So these people that are 150 will have other things that we'll get to create and do together. But I have no plans to run Freedom Teachers Academy again. If you want to pay PayPal, you can just send it to timepiercer@paypal.com, or I think Linkslayer can set you up with a link. Gunjan says, I'm a special ed teacher. Does the training apply to me as well? You know, one of my good friends and amazing entrepreneur, Michael Lovitch, founder of the Baby Bathwater Institute, very eclectic group. He was a special ed teacher, and a lot of the insights that he developed from that field of work were useful in his success building a multiple tens of millions of dollars a year. So to answer your question, Josh, and also the question that we had from, oh shit, where'd you go? Oh no. The question about, will this help me? All that's required is the criteria that I shared. If you know you have something to share, but you're not sure what it is, this is the program that will close that gap. Because you're basically where I was when I had a lot of experience, but really what I learned from my original mentors was how to get outside of my own orbit, look at someone's problem, describe that problem to them better than they're describing it to themselves, and then put my brain to work with some help from my coaches and find a way to solve it. And in fact, what really makes the difference is when you're not blinded by all this experience and you don't think you know the answers. It's actually a lot more fun to create something new based on a system of creation. Then what ends up happening is then people are like creating with you and it's really fun. Lucy, that's a good question there. It's all pay now, no payment plan. Yeah, the reason is I am one of the best in the world at teaching people how to do this stuff. I'm maybe the only one that does it in my particular style. What I'm not very good at is being a bank. I just realized I'm not very good at financing people's training. So, and we also, we want to start this program, which Samuel, it starts within 48 hours of you joining. So as soon as you jump in, there's going to be pre-work. You're going to get the collection immediately. And I'm going to, even if you already have the collection, I'm going to give us very specific instructions about what to watch so that we can get our first video going immediately. But what I was going to say is that we want to start this program. We're going to only have this program with people who are 100% in integrity with their own commitment. You know, it violates universal law to start a program with people who are not in full integrity. Susan, good question. For the mastermind, what's the guarantee? Because a bank is where I'll have to go. One of my first martial arts clients was in the exact same situation. His investment was $30,000 for us to do a year of coaching together. And he asked me the same question. He's like, what guarantee do I have that it works? And that's when I realized that it actually has a 300% guarantee. And I don't mean this to be flip or casual. This is actually really simple if you think it through. This shit works 100% of the time for 100% of the people who apply it 100%. So all you have to do, show up, watch the video, ask any questions you have, and apply exactly what you do. And because we're doing this in a very natural escalation, you're getting better and more confident as you go, and you see results and your confidence gets higher. Next thing you know, you're whipping out offers like a maniac. You'll be closing people over chat. People will be messaging you. You'll be fighting them off because they want what you and you alone have, because you're the only one that's actually done the work of finding what their problem is. When the rest of the world's out there trying to sell their shiny shit, you stand out because of your care. So this works for everybody that applies it. Now, whether or not you or anybody else chooses to apply it, I don't have control over your choice, so I would never guarantee that you'll do the work. But everybody who does the work gets results. Ask Andy Rosenfarb, ask Jamie Schreier, ask, Wes Bewley is in Freedom Teachers, ask Adrian Kierans, ask Jen Scalia, ask Sean Whalen. Laura says, any industry. Assuming that you are dealing with humans. Yes. Because everybody has problems that are sometimes, in a flux. Everybody at one point or another has issues. And one of the things, and I was going to reveal this later, I'll just share it now. One of the things that you will have access to is one of my mentors, and I believe he might even be watching now. Ron Lynch is personally responsible for over $4 billion, that's billion with a B, $4 billion in attributable revenue because of his genius at understanding how money moves. Right, I'm messaging you, there we go. And so you're gonna have access to my mentor. He's going to do some teaching as a guest instructor exclusively for Freedom Teachers. So as long as you're selling to humans, you're good to go. Uli, that's a great question. If you've already made payments for a program, and I'm answering this for some of the other people too. If you've already paid for Conscious Cash Flow Triad, if you've already paid for the Fab, program, the Freedom Accelerator bundle, Alex will give you codes that you can use to apply that amount as a discount. Uli, in your case, or in our case, since you invested for a private day, I'll just give you the choice. If you want to apply that to this instead of doing the private day, then we can totally make that work for you. Alex can help you with it. And if you'd like to keep the private day and still do that, then it will be two separate things. Alex, that's a great question. I really thought about this, about the Ultimates and Freedom Teachers. The two programs are completely compatible. However, they are two standalone programs. And for that, because of that, I know the value that's going to be in each program, and I feel that it's already very fairly priced at each level for people that are, like me, and that are gluttons. And once you get into something, whether it's, in my case, martial arts or music or learning how to sell and market in this way, I couldn't train hard enough. I just wanted more. I was like Neo. I was like, more, give me more. So I know that there's a lot of people that are going to do both programs, and we've actually arranged the schedule so that you'll be able to do that. There are no videos that overlap. That being said, both programs are very, very fairly and very firmly priced where they're at. So if you'd like to do Ultimates, there is some space in that, and we'd love to have you in Freedom Teachers as well. Joan says, would it also work for somebody living outside the U.S.? Oh, 100%. Matter of fact, one of my dear friends, Alex Huditan, is running an event right now as we speak in Bucharest, in Romania. And I was actually scheduled to go talk there. And I said, hey, man, I got to pass this time. I have plans with some friends for a few hours on Saturday. So anyway, Alex and I met a few years ago. And he is an amazing genius in his own right, but he's applied these exact same principles to not only build a very successful Amazon business, but to develop his own community, his own ethical cult, if you will. And so he's got students and clients and people that are paying him a lot of money because they want to learn what he knows. And anyway, he's in Romania. That's my whole point to this. And he's now training and working with thousands of people in Romania. He actually has the #1 program for Alex Rimmer. Awesome. Alex Huditan has the #1 program for Amazon sellers, and he's applied a lot of these exact same principles. I did have somebody, this is a couple of years ago, and he was in what might be a similar situation to you. He knew that he couldn't keep doing what he was doing. He knew that not knowing this sales system, because I used to teach this privately, he knew that not knowing this sales system was costing him a lot of money. In fact, by his own quick math, and we did some calculations together, he realized that just with people he already knew, that once he did the Promise Incubator and found out how to describe their problem to them, and once he found the solution, which we worked on together, he knew that he could invite one person after another and start making sales at $1,000. So he knew that within maybe an hour of just sending these engaging, very interesting messages to people that they would appreciate, he knew that he was only about an hour's worth of messaging to make 5K. But he told me very, very honestly and very simply, he said, Jesse, the problem is that I just think that that's a lot of money. And I said, well, I feel you, man. I know that thought process myself. But here's a reality that I've experienced. The problem isn't that we don't have the money. The problem is that we think that's a lot of money. Listen for the distinction there. He was thinking, 5,000 is a lot of money, when he knew that he could apply it and make his money back and then continue to do that for as long as he wanted. But he recognized his own wealth block This wealth block that said, I'm not worth 5,000. That's too much for me. And meanwhile, he's wasting a lot more money than that every year on entertainment and extra stuff and new shoes and all this kind of stuff. And so I said, the problem isn't that it's 5K. The problem is you think 5K is a lot of money. Let's go to work on that wealth attitude. It's just 5K. Because if you think that's a lot of money, do you think that belief is affecting the people that are coming to you? And I said, if you're not charging at least 5K for what you're doing on a longer basis, you're actually kind of screwing people over. He was like, I never thought about it that way. So he instantly up-leveled his own attitude, jumped in, and is really good. And I found that the more I invest in myself, the more I grow and the easier it gets. You know, it's like learning a language. Once you kind of stumble and stutter a little bit, and that's okay. But after a while, you develop this, smooth ability. Yeah, and it's really interesting because when people say, Adina, welcome, awesome. Steve, welcome, man. Kelly, welcome, sweet. What happens so often is when people are, faced with this, what feels like a dilemma, even though there's only one clear choice, but it's tempting to think, well, I'm gonna think about it. Here's the thing. Thinking about it is easy to do when you practice it. When you think about it, you practice it, it gets easier to think about. But every single person I've seen that's tripled their income, earned their freedom, and is truly changing lives, what starts to happen is the better it gets, the better it can get. The better it gets, the better it can get. But you have to go first. You have to be the one to jump forward. Ron perfectly said. Affordability. It is a skill. So good. Something else that I learned in the martial arts, I call this the law of proportionate returns. And I discovered this and just decided to name it because that's what made sense to me. The law of proportionate returns. What I found is that when I was training on the mat, I was training out there in martial arts, and on the mat, I was training and I was getting better and better and better. So time invested on the mat was returning the investment on the mat. Does that make sense? But as I kept getting better and better and better and better in my martial arts, my money was staying the same. And see, I had this false belief. that if I get better at martial arts, I'll make more money. And I see a lot of people that have this belief. They say, well, I'm a coach and I help people unblock their limiting beliefs and I'm really good at coaching. Where's the money? Well, one of the beliefs you've got is the better you get at the skill, that you just don't need a system. Can you smell the bullshit there? So this law of proportionate returns means that if you're putting a lot of time and energy into the skill, of course you're going to get better and better in the skill. But if you want to get better, oh, Josh, thank you, man. That means the world, dude. Oh, love you, man. Dude. So the law of proportionate returns means that if you want to make more money, you have to put more money where it matters, which is you. You have to put money into yourself so you can get more money from the world. This is the law of proportionate returns. Does that make sense? So if you want to start making more money, first thing you have to do is put some seed. Plant some seed, and that seed is in the soil of your own mind. I mean, the rush that you feel, those of you that have already joined, you already know this. You guys that are already in Freedom Teacher Academy or you're in Freedom Teacher Mastermind, you know how it felt the second you made that yes decision. You could feel your old self going away and stepping into this new version of you. This version of you that not only is willing to do what it takes, but the version of you that does what it takes. You know, the version of you that acts in this way. When I experienced this in the martial arts schools, I paid $10,000, commit to this $10,000. Here you go. I went, I got the training, and I began immediately applying it. The next week, I saw things so clearly because I was now in alignment with who I'd always wanted to be. I'd always wanted to be this is going to sound like ego, but it meant a lot to me at the time. I always wanted to be this badass producer. I mean, I kicked ass in the ring. I knew how to teach, but I hadn't cracked the business thing. And I wanted to be respected among the business people too. I didn't just want to be, oh, you're that karate guy. That's cool. Any money in that? And I'll tell you what, applying what I learned, expanding my business, I ended up going back to some of those original conversations where I felt so awkward. You know, these Chamber of Commerce meetings, I thought I was so sophisticated, and there's these lawyers and dentists, and I was intimidated by them because I knew they made more money than me. That's stupid to be intimidated by somebody because they make more money, but I felt like kind of bristly, you know, like I had something to prove. And then I end up in this conversation a year later with the exact same people, and they're like, so how's your business doing? We're talking about revenues, and you know, this one guy's law office, he says, yeah, you know, we billed $40,000 last month. And I'm like, dude, you billed that or you collected it? He's like, oh, that's billing. And I said, okay, so it's future money. It's not real money. And he's like, no, it's coming. I said, oh, okay. I said, yeah, well, our billing, we added $280,000 onto billing last month. But we don't count that. In our business, we call that fake future money. It's not real until it's in your account. You know, maybe the law profession is different. But, you know, what we do in the martial arts business, we only count money when it goes from their account to ours. And so we put $280,000 in contract amount last month, but we actually collected $63,248 and some change. And he was like, for karate? Now, in the past, I would have been tricked by that. And I would have go, yeah, I teach karate. I said, no, sir. That's what our competitors do. What we do is we work with families, especially with children, to develop life skills, to be more respectful of themselves and others, to develop confidence so that when they're confronted with negative peer pressure, they can follow their heart and not be distracted or influenced by anything harmful. So they can become a leader, not a follower, and become a good role model. That's the business that I'm in. And this guy's face was like, see, words matter. And then he looked at me and he said, how young do you start? And I said, our youngest student's 4 years old. And he's like, oh, my son's 5. Is that good? I said, absolutely. What's your son's name? And he told me. And I said, has your son ever taken martial arts before? And he said, yes. I said, great. What style? And he said, oh, he trained in Kempo. I said, that's awesome. Did he earn a belt rank? And he said, yeah, he sure did. He's all excited. I said, that's great. Congratulations. Have you thought about getting your son back into martial arts? And he was like, oh, absolutely. I said, okay, well, if you were to get your son back in martial arts, what would you want him to accomplish? That confidence sounds really good. He's having a tough time right now. Can you elaborate on that? Can you tell me a little bit more? And he talked for 10 minutes about the problems that his son is having. Do you see the system at work here? Type a yes if you can see the system at work. Now, during this conversation, am I telling him how many times I've been in the ring? No. Am I telling him how long I've been teaching? No. Am I telling him how many students I have? No. The conversation is all about him. Words matter. Words are spells. How do you make a word? You spell it. So you're either casting a spell of poverty or a spell of wealth and affluence. Freedom Teachers Academy will not only give you the system, but we're going to take you deep into the language of abundance and how to speak that language by going through the veil of someone else's pain and problems and showing them that you actually give a shit about them by the way you're talking with them, not at them, with them. This is a counterpart, co-creative experience. And because you're the only one that's done the work to understand where they're at, and you're now communicating in a very tactical empathy sort of way, you're using this care that you have. This is love made visible in the world. You actually give a fuck about people. This is what you get paid for. This is why you don't have any competition. So in Freedom Teacher Academy, we're going to go into the details of this. For those of you that are in the mastermind, every week, we're going to be hot seating a couple of you. And you're going to be sharing your offer. And I'm going to pick apart the language. This is not for people with thin skin. This is not for anybody that's like, oh, I just want to be told I'm awesome. Well, I don't know. You're awesome, but your offer might suck. So let's fix that. Let's fix your broken offer that's not converting, and let's make it convert like a motherfucker by connecting to people's pain and problems so that they see salvation, hope, and take decisive action. Jordan, that's a big part what we're going to work on, man. Lack of clarity on the solution is the result of lack of clarity about the problem. That's why in the system, both in Freedom Teacher Academy and on the deeper dives of the Mastermind, we're going to be looking at the actual problems that people are having, and we're going to do some field work. We're going to do a little time piercing in your own experience. You're going to start to see the world through different lenses, and you're going to begin to speak very fluently what I call the language of symptomies. There are many languages in this beautiful world. The most profitable one is symptomies, to be able to speak the language of symptoms. Consider the difference between going to a doctor, one who says, your shoulder got pretty fucked up, didn't it? And the other doctor is taking the time to diagnose and push and prod. And you're like, oh shit, there it hurts. And he's like, all right, it appears what you have is a grade 5 separation on your acromioclavicular ligament, which is causing your collarbone to bounce up and down. Who do you want to work on you? The person that can describe your problem. So, Dean, what if I want to change the space I work in? Well, that's an inevitable byproduct, my friend. I fully expect most of the people who are going through Freedom Teacher Academy will massively up-level. I mean, everybody's going to up-level their money and their contribution. But what a lot of people are going to do is to migrate over to another industry, to another field, because you'll be taking such a fresh set of value-creating perspectives. So I fully expect that a lot of people are going to change the space that they're working in. As far as the resourcefulness about how to find the money to invest in this, if you know it's valuable, I mean, you know it's valuable, otherwise you wouldn't be here. If you know it's valuable, you want to be part of this, you know that you can't go back to not having a system that generates sales consistently. You've already tried that and it doesn't work. If there's a better system out there, you should go fucking sign up for it right now. I just know that there is no other system that has been based on so much testing and is designed with freedom as the ultimate product. Freedom for the people that you're working with and freedom for you. Freedom of time, money, location, purpose, and freedom within relationships. Never again will you work with a drama person. So I realized that it's not about value for you. It's just the logistics of, okay, how are we going to find the money? Well, that's the question to ask yourself. That's the question that you got to ask yourself. It's just $5K. Where are 10 places you could find $500? Where are 5 places you could find $1,000? It's interesting how the more that we consistently ask a question, the more we start to find answers. Or it says, what level of support is there for one who for some reason doesn't get the results, even if they apply the system? Let's stop there. What level of support is there for someone who for some reason, this is very important. I'm very glad you asked this, Ori. If someone doesn't get the results, even if they applied the system, I'm going to give a funny answer and then a real one. My funny answer is we're going to call the Guinness Book of World Records, because somebody who applies the system but doesn't get a result defies the laws of the universe. They can probably fly. They can probably split their body into all these quantum levels. They can probably set shit on fire by looking at it. They can probably sing the national anthem out of their butthole. This is a person who completely defies the laws of the universe. So yeah, if somebody applies the system and doesn't get a result, we're going to call Guinness Book of World Records. And then I'm probably going to need to have 3 or 4 Guinnesses to convince myself that this is just, reality has become weird. It's impossible to apply the system and not get a result. That being said, and here's the serious answer. If someone, and or I'm not saying this is you, but if someone is so focused on why it won't work, or they're so afraid that they don't think they can make it work, then this system isn't going to work for them because they won't work the system. They won't apply. They won't be willing to make little mistakes in training. They'll be a perfectionist and sitting back trying to get it right. In the meantime, time marches on and money never sleeps. So if that's, I'm not saying that's who you are, but if that's what somebody's focused on, I would say that they don't fit the criteria because we don't have victims and whiners and drama people that are in Freedom Teachers. We have action takers and people who see something, they apply it, they don't judge themselves, they're just going out there and doing it. A question that I've had from a couple of people is, what about this, Jesse? My spouse, my significant other, they're tired of me spending money on programs that don't work. Well, here's my take on this. If you bought a program that worked for one other person, at least, if not many other people, and it didn't work for you, it is not because the program doesn't work. It's because you didn't work the program. So understandably, your spouse, your business partner, your significant other probably doesn't want you to fail. And they probably will say, hey, don't spend any more money on the program. I don't want you to fail. So my advice would be stop fucking failing. For once, or for the first time in a while, buy something, invest in it, and apply it fearlessly. And the good news is you've got support. So you're not doing this by yourself. I'm glad you said that. I'll give you my final answer on this right now. Or it says, I've been burned by a coach in the past that promised a lot and I got nothing off the program. Then I will say, do not consider Freedom Teachers. Candidly, I'm not interested in being next in line of a list of coaches who you feel promised a lot and then you got nothing, or maybe did nothing and you got nothing out of the program. I am going to respectfully remove the offer for you. I don't believe Freedom Teachers is what you're looking for. I don't know what you exactly are looking for, but I'm convinced after reading these with appreciation in my heart for you, and we'd love to have you in Ultimate Mind. We'd love to have you in any other program, and you'll always be a part of Freedom Teachers, the free group. But this is not a program for people who are looking for security. This is for people who are willing to build their security. Yeah. All right, gang, any other questions? Yeah, Andrew, the certification is going to be legit, man. I cannot wait. I'm actually going to be pulling out all the stops on how to train and teach other people. There's so much out there about being a better coach and all this, but nobody else has built a program that is based on as many results as what I'm sharing with you. I mean, I built and trained and worked with people for all over the world to build their own businesses based on education, based on training their own students. And so, I'm the teacher's teacher, I'm the trainer's trainer, and I'm really excited to bring that to you and to share that with you. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Any other questions, gang? All right. I am so fired up. And so I'm talking to those of you that have already made the choice. You've already jumped in. Can I first of all just say giant fucking congratulations for stepping into the version of you that you've always been wanting to be, and now you are that version. And because the universe rewards speed, the universe rewards decisiveness, I have a feeling you're going to have some very interesting dreams tonight. You're going to be in a spot where you're going to wake up in the morning, literally waking up as the newer version of you. And we're going to get you going at the time of this recording, we're just getting going. You may be watching this on replay, and if there are any spots left, we'll probably be already started, but don't worry, we'll wait until everybody's in the program before the actual curriculum starts. But the pre-work starts within the next 48 hours, so be ready. Terry says, so excited. The better it gets, the better it gets. Shannon says, thank you, so happy to be here. Amazing. Nina says, how much work can it be each week? Minimum to put in. There's 2 videos, and the video is probably going to run 45 minutes to an hour, 15. Some will be a little bit less. And then you'll apply what you'll be working on in the video. A lot just depends on how ambitious you are. If you have a goal of adding, let's say 50K a month, then you're actually not looking at more work. You'll just be doing a little bit extra on the promise part, because it is a little bit extra work to build, a $10,000 or a $20,000 offer, just because you have to really understand the problems that you're solving. Like this. This was a presentation. I went back through years of journals and notes, and I actually transported some of the original money-making phrases and concepts that I first started out with that now mostly I just don't use because so much of this is easy for me. But I wanted you to have the most nitty-gritty, simple stuff. So this presentation is a higher value than, let's say, a meditation program that I've sold for $400. So if you have ambition to make more money, you'll do a little bit of extra work. It's not even work, it's fun. We're going to be playing music, drinking wine, and writing toe stories. All right. And here's the thing. Let me just come out and say this. What if you had to work? I'm not saying you're going to come anywhere close to this, but what if somebody had to work 15 hours a week to make an extra $720,000 a year? And what if that work was in alignment with your soul's purpose? And what if that work was fun And what if that work was just filled with being surrounded by other badass lighthouses, and everybody's texting each other on the Slack app and the mastermind, and they're like, just closed another 10K, and everybody's like, that's it, I'm at 20, it's not even lunchtime, ha 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 ha. And then somebody else is texting and saying, guys, I just got this message, I'm in fucking tears. This is what my client just said to me. And you start getting the human shit. I mean, this is the reality that we live in. So if you get to do that 15 hours a week and make an extra 700-800K per year, are you okay with that? Yeah, fine with me too. That's why I want to hang out with you guys. The official schedule, I would show you there. The schedule is already set, and the calls are already scheduled. Everything's already done. So we'll be releasing that definitely within the next 48 hours, probably sooner, okay? Paul, thank you, brother. Thank you, man. All right, can't wait to see all of you inside Freedom Teacher Academy and or in Freedom Teacher Mastermind. For those of you that are level 3 and you're going to be part of the inner circle, that is going to be a very interesting set of experiences. We are going to have some trips. It's going to be powerful. And so text me, 512-872-0877, if you're already making 5 figures and you'd like to get that up to 6 or multiple 6 figures. And while we really are going to work in that group to craft your movement. And there is a bigger world stage that's waiting for you. Whether you want to do what I've done and build a larger organic audience, or you'd like to get more tactical, like some of my friends who have written New York Times best-selling books, who have had TED Talks, who are really leading these radical changes in the world. That's what the inner circle is going to be about, is creating change on a bigger global level. But you've got it for everybody. You have to have figured out the money piece first. I mean, until you're making sales, nothing else matters. All right, we're going to conclude this monster training. You guys are amazing. I have so much appreciation to you. Please join me in a big round of virtual applause for Team FT, for Alex Murphy, the creative genius behind the scenes. Give it up for Alex, everybody. Also, let's give it up for Helen Link Slayer, always there with the links, faster than Wyatt Earp. I'll be your Huckleberry. Also want to give a giant shout out to Henry, Admin Master Lee. Henry is working diligently behind the scenes, as well as our newest team member. He's interning with us, and he's going to be responsible for a lot of amazing content that will be coming to you based on what we've already done, books and PDFs and all these other support materials. So big shout out to Jackson Lynch. Probably not watching this right now, but shout out to Jackson. And life is amazing. Can't wait to see what everybody creates on the next level. All right. And last thing I'll say, if you're on the fence, either furnish it, have Wi-Fi installed, and just get used to teetering and tottering, or jump off the fence, go back to where you did, and just accept that you're not going to make this money. You're never going to do something about it. That might sound harsh, but it's better to just not lie to yourself. Instead of lying to yourself and saying someday it's going to be better, stop it. Stop bullshitting yourself and be honest with yourself and say, this is as good as it gets, and make peace with that. Billions of people do. There are billions of people in the world who have just accepted that this is their lot in life, and there's nothing wrong with that. If somebody is happy, like my father, who I love dearly and has, never made more than probably $65,000 a year in his life. He's still an amazing father and mentor and role model, and he's my friend, and I love him to death. So there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't want this life. I don't want to make money. I don't want this kind of freedom. I'm happy to go to a job or do hourly work or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But just be honest with yourself. If that's what you're going to choose, if you're not going to move forward and get the training that you need to start making daily sales, then just be honest with yourself. And if there's anybody else in your life that you've also been lying to, saying that, next year is going to be better, or we're going to go on vacation, or someday, honey, we're going to get you in that private school, or someday, honey, we're going to take that family trip. Just stop lying to them too. And I mean this is going to sound harsh, but it's always better to just tell the truth. If you've got kids or a spouse or a partner that you've been saying it's going to get better, it's going to get better, sit down with them. And if your kids are in bed, go upstairs, wake them up and say, honey, I have to tell you, we're never going to Disneyland. I love you. And this is it. This is our life. I love you. I'll always love you. There's nothing that will ever change the love that I have for you. We're just never going to go to Disneyland, and so I don't want you to get your hopes up. You may think that sounds funny or harsh, but it is actually the most loving and kind thing you can do. Instead of allowing somebody to keep their hopes up, only to grow up having never had that promise fulfilled. So either tell yourself the truth that you're willing to accept this and it's fine, or do what it takes to get the training so that you can have a sales system that you can make daily sales, you can change lives, you can work from anywhere, and then you can look back on all this ghost of fear that was stopping you. Excuse me. And because you'll now be qualified by your own boldness and your own experience and your own courage to step in and fucking bet on yourself, next time you have a client that's like, I don't know, you're going to be grounded in the space of truth. And you're going to say, I get it. And you're not going to entertain that bullshit story about why they can't. Okay? Y'all should be typing $signs. That was some good shit right there. All right. All right, gang, I'm going to log off. Thank you for being part of this. If you're in the Freedom Teachers free group and you've joined the Academy or the Mastermind, obviously you can still hang out in the Freedom Teachers group, but we're going to shift the conversation over to the committed ones, okay? I'm not going to be very active in the free group while we're doing this stuff, although there will be some content still posted. Those of you that are in the free group, if you choose not to move forward, I really don't know what else to tell you. I've shown you everything that there is and where we're going, and I completely respect that you are choosing to stay where you're at, and I totally get that, and that we love you no less. All right. Okay, that's it. I could keep teaching and rocking all day. Like, literally, this is like my favorite fucking thing to do, just about. But I will. I'll let you guys go. Almost 4 hours, you beasts! What a bunch of dedicated freedom teachers. Thank you, guys. I will see you all very soon. Peace, power, and no more guessing. Let's get the system in place and start rocking those sales. All right? Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing day. Bye.